This is the Renaissance Men podcast, broadcasting live on YouTube and Twitch. Now please welcome your host, Stuart Garrard.
What? I saw him appear. Sorry, I had a little heads up, everyone. For those who are tuning in, we've got Stewie, and we wasn't expecting.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
How's it going?
I didn't know what happened.
I'm only appearing on screen. Does that mean that I'm the only one on the stream? Are we live, by the way?
Yes, we are
We
live.
should be live.
We are
And
live.
we should all be on there.
And all four of us are on the screen.
That's weird.
Shoot,
so it's
do a
all
good
right.
evening.
when I saw you there, Stu, I thought, oh, brilliant, he's here to do the good evening. And then I don't have to do the really bad joke I had planned about Dad going out for a pint of milk 2 weeks ago, and we don't know if he'll ever come back again.
I'm here to keep my eyes on you. Yeah, how are we?
Well, let's do you first. It's always us. How are you? You had a holiday, mate.
I'm all right. Yeah, I got back this morning. And you know what? It's hilarious. We sent Benj back to school. You got to be pissed off, and you feel Benj.
Too right and all.
You know.
Yeah, you've had 4 days off school now. Bloody well, get back there.
We
Mr. Tight education.
politely ask the school that he can have the whole week off, and they say yes. But then we say, actually, can you have him back for a day?
He's getting on our nerves.
And
Make sure he's got double PE so he's knackered by the time he gets home, please.
But you know what? I've got a bone to pick with Birchwood Primary in the fact that
Oh God, I presume
I
they're
just discovered what school it goes to.
This is going to go viral.
Yeah.
We phoned them up at 10:30 to say, can we bring them in? You know, we're back home now. Can we? We're only like an hour and a half from opening the door, opening the gates. So we thought, well, chuck them in now. It's almost a full day. Nah, bring them in at 1. 1? I mean, come on.
I pay my taxes.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes.
half our day gone.
Yeah.
That's 2 hours. That's 2 hours work. These bloody teachers, I tell you.
Did you have a
So,
nice holiday,
I
though,
was gonna
leading
say,
up
yeah,
to the disappointing end?
Was that the highlight
Yes.
of the holidays when you packed your kid back to school?
It was a lovely week, thank you, gentlemen. Went to Centre Parks. It's always nice there. I've been there with Seddon, so he knows the joys of going to Centre Parks. Well, I don't know if Seddon likes it. But
We left the other halves at home, didn't we, Stu? And we just had a romantic week together. It's beautiful.
hot tubs, lovely.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
bliss.
You scrubbing down my back, me scrubbing down yours. We were obviously cuddling as we were doing it. That's how we
yeah.
managed to do each other's backs. But
It was a typical Centre Parks holiday if everyone's gone there before. It's
Never
expensive activities followed by just sitting in a nice secluded lodge near a lake and amongst a forest. So it was lovely. Much needed, to be honest with you. But I'm back. Wish I had some Bischoff music lined up, but
are you chock full of bacon tasties, Stu?
I did have a whole bag. I'm not going to lie. Those things are salty.
For anyone who hasn't eaten bacon tasties at Centre Parks, and you can get them elsewhere, but
I've never seen them anywhere else.
Well, started off, there was a really cheap shop in Ipswich, and we'd seen these packets of crisps, and this was when we were doing shift work, so you would buy any grotty food you could to try on night. So we got these bacon flavoured crisps, and you were right, Stu, they are the saltiest crisp known to man, but they are delicious. But then that shop disappeared, and I thought I'd never see him again. And then when I went to Centre Parks with you, they had them in the shop there, and I was amazed. But it's the main thing that makes me ever want to go back to Centre Parks, although I doubt I could eat them these days. I doubt they are vegetarian friendly.
Yeah, we did. Every time we go to Centre Parks, we have this conversation whether they are vegetarian compliant or not. There's nothing to say there isn't. They aren't, I should say. But yeah, they do.
I tend to find
too meaty. To be honest,
when it doesn't say, that's normally the time when you don't put it in your mouth. In fact, as delicious as they are, I think they probably shouldn't be consumed by human beings. I'm sure they break a lot of food laws.
What's the ingredients on the back? Just says crisps.
Salt, crisps. That's all it says.
Yeah. and then various E numbers, and that's about it. It's the E numbers.
Flavorings and colorings.
Yeah, but they are gorgeous. They are delicious. Go check them out. We should get a sponsorship from
We should.
Making Tasties.
I'll have a few.
Yeah.
Imagine that though. We'll take the podcast down, wouldn't it? When we're caught up in the scandal in 10 years' time, when you find out that they were made of human children, like we were suggesting on chat the other day, and and we get tied into that scandal.
Well, I'm sure we've done worse.
Oh yeah, probably have. Yeah.
Well, hello, Jimmy. Hello, Lacey. How are you both? I'm going to take a back seat tonight. I don't know if I'll be here all evening, but I thought I'd come and say hello. So
you'll be here all evening.
I had nothing else to do, to be honest. How are you, boys?
Chris?
I am not too bad. Been back at the office more. Yay. And yeah, pretty much that's about as exciting as it's been this week.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing exciting this week.
Wow.
What about you, Jimberly? What did you do?
I'll see if I can do better than nothing.
He's got to have an anecdote. Come on.
Well, so I went back to the physiotherapist slash masseuse this week to get finished off on my ankles, and that was a treat. That was a treat. But once again, she starts off with a bit of flim flam because I'm going in there for 2 hours. And as I said to you last time, she did the weird thing with my hand and she asked me questions about myself, trying to talk to me. And in my head, I'm going, she's just trying to do as much as she can so she doesn't have to put her hands on my legs or wherever, back or whatever. This time, she came in. She was like, So how are you? How is everything? I'm like, good. Everything's good. I'm great. I'm feeling good. Body's feeling good. Just, the ankle's still a bit, but my back a bit and my neck a bit, but everything else in my life, fantastic. She's like, okay. So she could see there was no counselling to do for me because I was completely well adjusted. She had solved my problems 2 weeks ago. So she said, okay, what I want to do with you this time is jump up on the bed, lay back. We'll put the straps on your the straps on your hands and feet again and run the copper magnetism through your body or whatever, whatever gobbledygook that is. And she went, I want you just to lay down, listen to the music. I'll shut the curtains. And I want you to get into a sort of a sense of well-being. Just close your eyes. Do you want an eye mask? I'm like, no, I can close my eyes. That's fine. She went, and, I do this a lot with people at seminars and things, and sometimes they just drift off. So I'm going to leave you to it, and I'll be back. So she left the room with the idea that I could go to sleep.
Nice. Paying to have a kip in someone else's
my
room.
office. My office is over the drive. There's a couch. I could sleep there for free if I really needed to sleep. Anyway, so I'm laying there. I would say it felt like forever, but it was probably only about 10, 15 minutes, but it felt like a long time. And then she came back in and she went, did you drift off? No. And she went, because you can't switch off, can you? I wanted to go, no, because I'm paying for you to do things, not for me to sleep.
Thank God you said that, Jimmy, because that's exactly what's going through my head. I'm going, no, I'm not going to switch off when I'm bloody paying for this.
Exactly.
Do something,
sleep.
Yeah.
But anyway, once that was done, off with the clothes, crack on. She did a wonderful job. I highly recommend anyone who hasn't been to a masseuse to get one in just to treat themselves for an hour because it is absolutely lovely. I'll tell you, another thing interesting happened to me. Well, two things, actually. I'll be quick. Sorry. First of all, I've got to do a massive shout out to my lovely wife who did this for me as a Halloween present.
I was going to say, Jimmy, if you forgot, I was going to get you to shout out your wife.
No way.
Fantastic, mate.
These shelving units she put together.
I can't see anything. What are you pointing at?
What?
The stuff behind him.
All the wonderful.
I keep looking at myself. This is really disconcerting.
What is happening to you, Stu?
I know. I'm like, let me do you carry on. I'll do a refresh.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, so she built these. She built. These shelving units.
When I do the pop videos or whatever, or when we've done them, Chris, I kind of go, "Oh yeah, it's there," and then I realise I'm pointing in the wrong direction because the things I don't know how it works.
Well, she built these shelving units. She got all my stuff on. She got this big framework behind me, and she filled the thing up with
I can see everyone.
Well, not all of my nerdy stuff, but quite a bit of my nerdy stuff to make it look nice for us, the viewers. So
You got some drapes.
Yeah, it's a big framework she put together to have a backdrop. So
nice.
Have to thank her massively for that. It's made it a lot nicer for people to look at.
Can I ask a question about Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
The pose that he's pulling there, it's very much like he's on a catwalk, isn't it? Like as if he's sashaying down the catwalk.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, very much.
Oh,
I think he's just looking off into the future, but yeah, he is. But the other thing that was interesting that happened to me this week was I was recognised for being famous from the podcast.
Crime Watch.
I say recognised. I do know the guy, and I'm sure he's listening. Mark Sharpley. He's a Mersey guy. I know him because he used to work in a pub where I used to go, and he's just a Mersey legend. Everyone knows everyone where I live, but we don't go out a lot or whatever. But he was walking over the street from me, and I didn't know that he had been listening. But I was taking my daughter to school, and he shouted out, I went, morning. He went, morning. Loving the Cult of Egg podcast.
Nice.
Could have got the name right, but still, thank you.
What?
I had that. Jimmy,
Renaissance Men. Come on.
Yeah, Renaissance Men podcast. But it comes up Cult of Egg, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah. Renaissance. He went, loving the Cult of Egg podcast. I was like, oh, thanks very much. He went, yeah, really good. He said, give me a shout out. So I'm giving him a shout out as the chap in the NWO t-shirt. Because I never knew he was into wrestling. And I saw him down the post office wearing an NWO t-shirt the other day. So thanks very much. Made my morning, to be honest.
Is that an accurate voice, though? Sorry, Seddon. Is that an accurate interpretation of his voice?
Yeah, he's from Manchester.
Right.
I think. I'm sure he'll tell me if he's not.
I had a similar thing not that long ago. Like, and I say not that long ago in lockdown world, could have been 4 years ago for all I know. But Aladdin, and it's someone that both Stu and I have worked with in our time, and bless him, gave us a shout out and sort of said, "Oh, I've been watching you on the podcast," which was lovely. And then I thought, what about the 15 years of camaraderie and friendship we had? Didn't give a shit about me until you saw me on the podcast. Like,
oh, quite right.
Yeah.
I say.
Just a little shout out for you, Stu. You've got a yay, he's back. And you know, I think we all missed you as much as we pretend that we didn't. We did.
Well, I haven't got much to offer this week. I mean, I haven't really done a lot. I don't know what you boys have kind of, really. Jimmy's had his masseuse and Lacey hasn't done a lot. Said, what you've been up to? I mean, I'm not. Other than being on holiday, I've done bugger all, to be honest.
Did you get like when you were up there? And I always mean to ask this because I know one of the things about Centre Park because it has got loads of stuff to do, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But sometimes I found when I've been there, I don't do anything. Like there is almost too much to do, isn't there? You kind of walk around and there's all these signs up that say, "Oh, yeah, you can do this, that, and the other," and you just go, do you know what? I think I'll just chip back to the chalet, eat some bacon tasties, and play a few video games.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? We did do a few activities. We didn't do a lot because like I say, they are expensive. And Benji's of the age now where he can kind of take part in a lot of them because most of them start from age 3 and upwards. So the times have been with him previously. There's literally nothing that we can really do with him apart from have some bacon tasties and play video games. Just feed them to him. But this time, what did? We did.
I like the way you did the hand gesture there, like you're putting it in his cage.
Most of the, strangely enough, most of the activities we did involved shooting, which I don't know if we should be concerned about or not. But
shooting.
We did both archery and crossbow activities, which given the week's news.
Yeah, I was going to say you weren't in Centre Parks in Norway, were you?
No, we weren't. But yeah, it was quite strange. It was actually the day that he'd done an archery lesson that the said incident happened. So that was quite strange, really. But no, he loved it.
This shocks me, Stu. This shocks me. So I was under the impression. I know I'm shocked quite easily. I know, but I was under the impression, like a theme park or something. Once you're in, everything was included.
Oh no, Jimmy! The only thing you get once you're in there is you can use the water slide, isn't it, in the pool? But absolutely
use the pool.
everything. Yeah, absolutely
just the slide.
No, just a slide, Jimmy. As soon as you hit water, they literally have to swipe your debit card on the way down to pay for that part. Of it. But yeah,
Your Apple Pay
If
out.
they could,
everything else is.
if they could, they would.
chargeable there.
That's shocking.
Although
Yeah, well-
sometimes, having said that, sometimes I mean, we went close to Christmas once, didn't we, Stu? And everything's done up like a winter wonderland. And don't get me wrong, they'll charge you to see Santa and stuff like that, but they do make a lot of effort, like with the way it looks and things like that as well. And I seem to remember we went to the world's worst panto, didn't we, Stu?
Oh,
We went
yes,
there
we
at Christmas
did.
time. And I believe we both
Amazing.
used your son to get us out of it because our other halves were quite enjoying it. So we went, oh, Benji isn't really enjoying this. Don't worry about it. We'll take him back to the chalet. And I think we put him in a high chair and just play video games for 2 hours. Yeah.
Oh.
Confessions, obviously.
Parenting 101.
They don't listen. It's fine. They'll never know.
We're not going to get sponsored by Centre Parks, are we?
No. But
I
yeah,
don't know, but we, I've been a few times. You go back regularly, didn't you? I mean, it may cost a few bob, but it's certainly I'd say a relaxing environment to be in, isn't it? And I think one of the advantages it has is it's got a bit of the countryside to it, but it has activities that you can do, and you've got shops and restaurants like on site. So like a bit different than going into the middle of the countryside and having nothing around you.
Exactly.
I'm out.
It's it is the location that does it for me, really, because you are surrounded by the woods, and I had a whale of a time with my new GoPro.
I used to say my new girlfriend.
Girlfriend and
I took the
GoPro.
wife and kid, but took the girlfriend as well.
The mistress.
2 chalets.
But so my concentration the next week or two is to try and edit all that together and get that up on YouTube somehow in some form. But I made the mistake of filming in 5K, so I think everything's going to be massively. My Steam will come out my PC, I would imagine, because the resolution of that footage. But anyway, all good fun. Yeah, we did archery, a couple of sessions of that. I would say that because obviously you get employees of Centre Parks giving the sessions, and I get the impression they kind of rotate different sessions, and some of them put more effort into it than others, really.
I guess it's like any job, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we can all
get that in your own
sympathise.
jobs, don't you?
Yeah, we can. Oh, yeah, I agree. Some days you work harder than others.
Some days
but-
you have disdain for every human in the world and just want to mass murder them.
Exactly,
Which I
Chris.
imagine is most days for people in Centre Parks. I imagine like the people who are actually staying there are the enemy for the employees, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Oh, yeah. Here's another snotty kid who's
Yeah.
going to back chat to me. But yeah, so some of the activities were better than others, but overall we had a great time, I would say. I did get, now we went in the swimming pool. I don't typically go in there, but now I've got my flotation device because I can't swim. I've got like a flotation vest. It's for people who are learning to swim. It's like a waistcoat with floats inside.
You get a kind of floaty bow tie as well to go with it.
Well,
and I'm not, because I also can't swim, so I want to look
for
splendid
crying
if
out
I'm
loud.
going to learn.
Yeah, it's great.
I forgot you couldn't swim, Stu. You could never swim at school.
No,
could you?
exactly.
You never did.
Exactly, Jimmy.
I remember sitting next to you at swimming gala.
Yeah.
We've
Oh,
joked
dear.
about it though, haven't we, Stu? You grew up on an island and couldn't swim, and I grew up on the sea, on the coast, and I can't swim either.
Yeah,
We
like
both
the
had ample
anti-Aquaman.
opportunity. Yeah.
Did something happen to you? Because my dad can't swim, but when he was a kid, he was pushed into a pool and nearly drowned. So he's got a bit of a fear of open, not even open water, but a big enough space of water. Something like that terrible happened to you?
No. No, nothing. I don't know. I genuinely don't know why. I just always assumed that as I grew up, if I was pushed in, I would just,
Figure it out. Yeah.
years,
I remember-
millions of years of evolution would kick in, and I would just swim. I don't know.
I remember when we were kids, Stu, you used to say, "Oh, I don't want to get the chlorine in my hair because it might fall out."
Prophetic, wasn't I? Yeah.
I don't know about you, Stu, but I just kept thinking one day I'll learn. And I kept thinking one day I'll learn. And then it got to the point where I got to high school and they went, "Do you want to learn?" And everyone else knew how to swim. And I thought, no, I don't want to be the dickhead down one end with a float in my hand while everyone else is swimming.
The armbands.
So I just went, no thanks, I've got a Veruca and I'm going to have it for the next 7 years.
Oh, I don't want to be the dickhead in a flotation vest. Anyway, the point of the story was there's a section of the swimming they call it the subtropical paradise. It's overselling it. I'm not going to lie.
Of course, I've got a fancy name.
Yeah, but there's like a pirate themed. How would you describe it? You know, you can get like these splash zones for kids with like jets of water coming out from the floor. Jimmy, you probably know. And Chris, you probably know.
Yeah.
And like
What
buckets
about
of
me?
water. Well, I would hope you wouldn't know.
Good point.
Is
Well
that
made.
would suggest you were, lurking around them. But anyway, so there's a number of slides there, and I was quite tempted to go down them. And Amanda egged me on, so I went up with Benj, and we both went down a slide. And of course, I get the toot from the old Hitler lifeguard standing beside the edge of the water, saying, "No, none of that, get out." So I was reprimanded. Yes, it's kids only, Jimmy. So
Right.
my bad, but my defense being that my wife told me to do it.
I bet she knew as well, didn't she? I bet she
did.
Yeah, I bet she did.
I bet she did. But that's probably the highlight. I took my electric bike as well. Yeah. That was good. First time I took a bike.
They rent bikes, don't they? There, they rent bikes.
They do.
I've heard that.
They do. But
It costs the same as buying one, Jimmy. That's the problem.
That was good. I never got higher than 4 miles an hour because Benj was with us, so I could have walked. To be honest.
Yeah, but that poor bugger was pedaling. It's all right for you. You were letting the battery do all the work.
True. Yeah, that is true. Instantly, I didn't go down 1 bar whilst I was there, so that's how amazing my battery is. But yeah, there we go. That was my Centre Parks journey for you all. But Seddon, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, mate. Much like Chris, it was just been a week of work. But I'm going out tomorrow night. I just realised I'm going to a surprise thing tomorrow night, so I probably shouldn't say it on here, just in case. So, but yeah, next week I'll tell you about the surprise thing I'm doing tomorrow night. Hopefully, not to spoil the surprise. But yeah, it's been a pretty standard week. A lot of watching telly, and a lot of playing Football Manager, and I quite like that part of it. It's been fantastic. And I guess the only thing that was a real treat for me is I had a lay-in this week. An unintentional one. I was supposed to be at work, but I just laid in anyway. And I had an amazing moment where I'd finally got my arse out of bed, got showered. I was walking to work and bumped into one of my staff members who'd been at work, left work, been to the dentist, and was on their way back. And I was on my way in, so it was grand. But
leading from the front.
Well, I think I'm going to try and do it more often. It's quite nice having a bit of a lay-in every now and again. Felt a bit cheeky and a bit naughty again, but I paid for it because then there was just a ton of work when I got there. So they get you somehow, didn't they? But
that's on you.
Yeah, it's my bad. But yeah, no, but nothing I can complain about. But yeah, nothing too splendid or exciting. I was going to say, like, one of the things that I did get a big kick out of was actually today when I put up a shout out for Ask Us Anythings on our Facebook group, because we didn't get any last week, and I think we did a really sterling job of covering it by using dating site questions, but I thought I'd challenge the cult of egg by threatening to kill an inanimate object, and my God, they've come through. It just goes to show that actually threats of violence sometimes are the way to get what you want, aren't they?
It seems to be, yeah.
So I was going to say, like,
cute cuddly bear, and
well, I didn't even think it was that cute. It was the only one I could find a picture of at close hand. I didn't even think it was that nice myself. But yeah, a lot of support for that bear. Yeah, very generic, but a lot of support for that bear. But I was going to say, as we've got a lot, should we crack into our Ask Us Anythings?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Now, we had a little chat before you come on, Stu. Yep. We weren't going to go with your one.
That's fine.
Purely because we've answered it recently.
Okay.
So
I did wonder. Yeah, I did wonder if that was part of the. Yeah, didn't we get a? What's the one place you'd want to be?
Or one place you want to go back to, or something like that.
Okay.
But
no, that's fine.
But yeah, up top, and I'm hoping, Chris, you can get our live correspondent in for this one, because our first question is from Kate Cav, and it's what are your top PlayStation games for ages 7 to 12 that are not too expensive? Now, I know obviously we've got some parents in here, but we've actually got a live correspondent who can tell us what are the best games to play, mate.
I like it.
So top 4 PlayStation games for someone your age.
So, in my opinion, in fourth place
Yes.
would probably be Rocket League. It is a really good game, and it's good in general, and even older people can play it, and it's good.
One of the guys I work with has put in about 600 hours into Rocket League, so people who are older can play it.
Yeah, and my dad plays it.
Yeah.
He's not older though, is he? He's only got about a year older than you, isn't he? Surely.
No, he is. I'm not going to say the age, but
good lad.
He is a little bit older than me.
Okay.
But in third place, before it was a free game and its name changed, was, in my opinion, is Pro Evolution Soccer. Seeing as the only reason why I like it is the controls are better than FIFA. Whoever says FIFA is better than PES, you are wrong.
Quite right.
Very, very quickly before we get to 2 and 1, can you come on every week? Because you sound like you really fit in with us. Yeah.
Not every week, but I might be able to do every other week.
Jimmy, you're out.
There you
Jimmy,
go.
You're out.
In second place, in my opinion, is I'm stuck between two of them. One of them I'm playing it right now, and okay. In second place is Minecraft. Minecraft is a very good game. Old people play it. Children people play it.
Your words out.
And it's a good game in general. You can build, you can fight, you can survive, you can die, and you can actually when you do, if you want a challenge, you can actually do hardcore mode, which is basically you have one life, and once that one life's dead, you're dead. You can't go into the world again, other than you can spectate it.
I'm with you all the way on Minecraft.
And then
Minecraft.
Yes.
Oh,
go,
a question, sir.
Yep.
With Minecraft, do you have to be online, or can you just play offline?
You can play offline. If you do play online, you can play with other players. But if you are on the same internet servers with someone, you can play like split screen.
Right.
So say you have like your mum and your dad playing, you can have one of them on one side of the screen, the other on the other side. But if you want to play with other people on the internet, it has to be online.
But if you're playing offline, do you still battle people? Is there NPCs on there and whatnot?
And you can battle things called mobs, like zombies, skeletons, creepers, and stuff.
Good stuff.
Jimmy,
Good
you can also watch some of our content on our own channel of Minecraft. Something we did a while ago, wasn't it? And I think when I was on my 95th hour of just dyeing blocks pink to make a big pink building, I went, I've got to move on with my life, I think.
Yeah. It's a game that comes in waves for me.
Yeah. But yeah, brilliant game. Love that one. And I think
Here
I know what
number
your number
one.
one's going to be. I think I can have a guess, and I think Stu's going to like it.
Go on. Come on.
What do you think it is first? What do you think it is?
Fortnite.
I think you can go Fortnite.
Correct.
Yes.
I think he will hate me. He calls it shite me. Combining two words, shit and Fortnite together. By the way, I am able to swear. But yes,
legally,
go for it, Will.
You're definitely on the right show then.
Yep.
I think it is.
You'll get us banned.
It is an overall good game. You can fight, you can build, you can survive with your friends. You can do role playing.
You can dance.
You can just rage as well when you just you're the first person to die in the game, and then you slam your controller down, which I sometimes do, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
There you
But
go.
yes, I think it should deserve the number one spot on the top 4 games for 7 to 12?
Yes.
Yeah, 7 to 12-year-olds.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Will. That is absolutely superb. And hopefully for Kate. There we go.
Yeah, well done, Will.
Straight to the horse's mouth, I think they say. Right? Yeah,
Bye, I'm going to play
Bye,
some
Will.
more Fortnite.
Enjoy. Don't rage too much.
I'm
I
looking forward
will
to.
rage!
I look forward to Renaissance Men Next Gen with Will, Benjamin, Oliver, Midian's kid, and one of Jimmy's 100.
I'll put one of me pops on static. That's my child.
Renaissance Boys.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that could be a channel in itself, couldn't it? The Renaissance Boys.
Child friendly.
Anyone else got any other
Lacey,
shout out?
sorry,
For,
am I the only one getting Chris's son quite loud? Oh, he's back.
I was going to say, anyone else got any shout outs for stuff that they've seen that they think would be kid friendly as well?
So I would say the Lego stuff.
Oh,
'cause
yes.
they're great for when me and him used to, before he found Fortnite and thought it was the greatest thing ever. We'd always sit there and crash through like all the Star Wars ones, the Batman ones, and the Avengers ones and stuff like that. So that's always good.
I guess the nice thing about the Lego ones as well is the different franchises, isn't it? So like if your kids like Marvel, like Star Wars, if they like this, if they like that, then you can lean into the franchises that they like. So
yeah, I love the Lego games. They're great. We've got them in my house, a lot of them.
I think any kind of just I'll give a shout out to, I think they're called Outright Games. They make a lot of like the Paw Patrol and a lot of the licensed kids games, but they're actually not that bad. I've played one or two of them. I've played the Paw Patrol games, and what else have I played? I can't remember. But they're not shovelware. They're not too bad. I'd say they're aimed for kids at like Benji's age, like 4 or 5.
I remember back in the day, and I think
younger
it was probably
kids,
the generation before, probably it was PlayStation 3 generation and 4, but I remember loving that Toy Story 3 game, which was kind of an open worldy one, which I thought like kids would love because it's very kind of accessible, but yeah, got loads of gameplay to it.
Yeah, so anything sporty, I think, like any kind of sports related game, I think generally they're quite easy for kids to get into.
One that is like a Lego one that's always good is Lego City. It's basically Lego GTA.
Oh, nice. There's Lego
Can you kill a hooker?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, you can kill Lego prostitutes.
No, you just go around and do it. Basically, you're a police officer. So it's GTA, but the other side of it. But yeah, no, hours of fun in that.
Well, there we go. I hope we're giving Kate a lot of options there to trying to dip her toes in, or her kids' toes in.
So next up is Holly Williams, and she comes with a very Holly Williams-esque question, as we found out. But she wants to know, where does a thought go when it's forgotten?
Has Holly been having
Jimmy,
a Chinese?
Come on, Jimmy.
Chinese meal. She seems to have had some fortune cookies lately.
I think she just missed you, Stu, and she's gone off the deep end, I think.
Where does a thought go when it's forgotten?
And is it gone for good?
Surely back up into the Matrix. Uploaded to the Matrix to be then downloaded to someone else. I don't know.
I presume she's not thinking about a memory, but it's like when you go, oh, I must remember to do that, or I thought of something to say, and then it just disappears.
Are we all guilty of that, by the way? That, I've got something to say, and then going, if I don't say it right now, it's gone.
It's gone. Yes.
Yeah.
I try not to, because I get really annoyed when people do it.
Walking into rooms and forgetting why you've gone in there. I do that a lot.
That I've noticed that in work a lot. Like getting up and walking down the other end of the room, and by the time I've got there, going, why the bollocks am I down this end of the room? Walk back again, sit down, and go, oh, yeah, that's what I was going down there to speak to so and so. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand thoughts and brains, because I presume everything we ever learn is stored in there still. And I presume it's a problem with how we're accessing it. So I don't know, like as you get older or something like that, or even when you're young, some people are obviously much better at quick accessing memories and things like that. But I think they're in there somewhere. I like to think of it like a filing cabinet, and you've just chucked so much stuff in that filing cabinet that no matter how many times you scan through and have a look, you just can't find that piece of paper you're looking for right then. So,
but there's a few people in the world who can remember every day of their life, isn't there?
Bollocks, really?
Yeah. Not many, but a few people. You can ask them a question, and they'll tell you what they did on that day, and what day it was, and what they ate. Like it's Yeah, it's.
Bloody hell.
I think there's probably a 60 minutes on it on YouTube. Like there's a few of them, and there was a chap who got hit by like a baseball, and afterwards in the head he got hit in the baseball, and afterwards, if you say a date, he can tell you what day it was.
Brilliant. I love those kinds of stories. Like people going to slip into comas and wake up speaking French for some reason.
Yeah, so I agree, Said. I think everything is stored in there, and some people can access it. Very few people, but
I always get fascinated at the idea of, when you watch crime programs, like murder programs, and it was you, Jimmy, saying about people remembering every day. And they're like, someone gets called in for an interview and they say, well, where were you and what were you doing on June the 22nd or something like that? And like, it's seen as a guilt if you don't remember what you were doing. I couldn't tell you. Like, I couldn't. I would be
Pizza
like,
Express in Woking.
I'd just be like, I don't know. And they'll go, well, how can you not remember that day? Someone died. And I'll go, yeah, well, it wasn't me. I didn't die.
I wonder if there's that thing that says we only use 10% of our brains. I wonder if that is A, if that's true, and B, why is that?
Sure, I'll be surprised if you're at 10%.
but yeah, no, you are actually. That's kind of the recognised kind of figure, isn't it? Of going that there's so much capacity in there that we don't even touch on. But I presume maybe the rest of that is to store this shit that we can't access. I mean, that's a lot. Yeah, and again. That part of it, that fascination with going, like something that's probably really important. I can't recall it, but if it's some trivial piece of shit, like if it's the cover of Iron Man 150, I could probably give you a reasonable description. But if it's my missus's birthday, good luck. Tell me a couple of days before, or we're going to struggle. But yeah, I don't know the answer, but it does fascinate me. What happens in our brains I find it an absolutely fascinating subject.
Let's just go with Matrix upload.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Into the ether.
So there's someone who asked us a question who you are quite familiar with, I believe, Stu, and that is one Amanda
Not happy with this.
Garrard.
Not happy.
I'm only reading out the question. I'm not going to read out what I think was a vicious and nasty slur to you afterwards. But and this is to all of us. If your co-hosts were an animal, what would they be and why?
Well, before we answer this, can I tell a little story?
Oh, God.
I don't think I've told it before.
I hope this story is that you drew us all as animals and you keep a little picture of us as
no,
animal,
but it's animal related. I was on a bit of a lads' holiday. I have a few friends from the Colchester Institute. They've gone off and done bigger and better things now. But we went to a place called Rockley Park, which is like a Butlins, small scale Butlins sort of thing. And we were staying with the Redcoats or whatever they were because one of my friends knew one of them. And we were drinking with them one night and we were in their lounge and we're all sitting around. And that was the question that came up. If you were an animal, what animal would you be? And we all said things. I think I said, I'll come on to what I said afterwards when we describe what we were going to be. But we all said things. I think I said a hyena, for myself. But this girl came back in, quite a pretty girl. She's a pretty girl. And they said, we've all been saying what animals we were. What animal? Have a guess. Have a guess what animals we were. And she went round a few of them and she got to me and she went, warthog.
I once was a young warthog.
Warthog.
Did she expand on why? Did she give you any?
Yeah. Fat, tusky, I don't know. Warthog. Unbelievable, but crack on.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get her on now. Did we get her name so that we can get on as a guest? So
I'm not throwing her under a bus. I'm not throwing her under a bus.
Be lovely. Right, who wants to go first? Who wants to be the first one to name your co-hosts as animals?
I will take Seddon.
I bet you would.
And I will go with an elephant. for the grey tone and very wise.
I do an amazing elephant impression. But that's for the OnlyFans site, not for you, I'll take elephant. I've been called worse.
trying to think of. Are there any particularly grumpy animals? Are there any animals that?
Cats, they're grumpy, aren't they?
Donkey.
Yeah. A donkey.
Donkeys are quite grumpy, yeah.
Well, yeah. I
No,
mean,
there was
they're treated
grumpy.
terribly.
There was grumpy cat, wasn't there? I suppose we
Yeah.
could go with that. Yeah.
Who's that for Seddon?
Yeah. Just
Thanks.
yeah.
I wish I hadn't said cat now. I wish I thought of a better grumpy animal. I don't want to be a bloody cat.
I'll stick with warthog for Jimmy. To be honest.
I can see what she was saying.
Yeah. Lacey. Something with a wildebeest, I think. Or
That's a good shout.
yeah. Or
Wildebeest, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Myself. Something graceful.
Dolphin. Yeah, dolphin, but with a flotation thing around him.
I like it. Yep.
I don't know why.
There you go.
As maybe like something like a dog, Stu.
Yeah.
Not that I've the desire to see on all fours.
No.
I think you're quite kind of loyal and the kind and nice. That's where my
Like a
brain was leaning to for
those
you.
ones that
I must
save
admit,
people in the Alps.
I had you in that role as well, Jimmy. I thought you've
Yeah.
got like some dog-like qualities as well. I think you got kind eyes. You eat your own shit. When I read it, the first thing I thought of is I just want to say that Jimmy is a fox, but I thought I don't want to trigger him. Yeah, I don't want.
That was something else that happened this week. My
he
daughter
back?
on the walk to school stood in a fucking fox shit, and I was having to clean it off.
Good.
To be honest, I think he targeted
Justice.
your daughter, Jimmy, because no one else's kid trod in that. That fox is after you. Bullying me.
Justice.
Bullying.
Well, I'll stick with my hyena
Okay. What?
for myself. If I'm a dog, I'll go with hyena.
I don't know. Hyenas are mean, though, aren't they? They're evil. You're not mean and evil.
No, but I laugh a lot and I scavenge.
I might actually. I'm going to change mine. I want to go koala bear for Jimmy.
Because of the cystitis.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's it.
Is it cystitis they've got, koalas, or is it?
I don't know. They just
They've
seem
got
kind of quite friendly and cuddly, and that's what I think of when I think of you. Late at
Chlamydia. Chlamydia. 90% of koalas have chlamydia.
No way.
Mm.
Koala news.
Yeah. You've got to be careful when you're holding them. If they if they pee on you or claw you or something, you can get chlamydia.
Bloody hell.
I feel I should explain the blobfish part of this comment. There wasn't actually Amanda that said compared me to a blobfish. It was my own mother who did that. Yeah. I don't know why we were talking
that's
about.
harsh.
I know, but the blobfish is not only does he look like the loneliest, saddest creature under the water, but he's also the ugliest. You know, with his little squashed nose and.
I think there's uglier creatures under the sea, maybe like the anglerfish or something like that. Vicious, horrible looking things.
Blobfish.
But the blobfish, you're right, certainly looks like the saddest fish.
Yeah. But anyway, it's
And also, again, I know we keep going back to this, but you can't even fucking swim. Your mum should know that about you.
Yeah. Yep. Let me let's just highlight this.
Let's just block her.
Let's just,
Again, she ain't watching. She's
there
too
we
busy
go.
playing Japanese role-playing games. That's what mum does.
for those watching the live YouTube, look at that. Look, the sad little the little drip of drool coming out of his mouth.
Do you know what though? if the blobfish could turn that frown upside down, do you reckon that would make it cuter? Like, imagine if he was smiling. That would be more appealing, wouldn't it?
He looks like a Pokemon.
Probably if
Hey.
they wipe the drool away as well, that would also be a good thing. But
The thing is, it looks like a human face, doesn't it? That's what's amazing about it. It really does. Didn't people think they were mermaids for a while?
Probably.
Jesus.
People are stupid, aren't they?
I mean, whoever saw that mermaid and said that they shagged it, they were really exaggerating on how attractive the mermaid became in the folklore, wasn't it?
I'm never watching Splash again
beautiful.
after that. Jesus.
There you go. Let me hide that. We don't need that anymore. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so
Blobfish.
for me, I'm going Jimmy, koala, Lacey, you're a red panda, Stu, you're a dog. I don't know which dog to go with, though.
St. Bernard.
No, I don't know. Because
Pug?
Yeah, let's go St. Bernards. We'll take it. Are they the ones that have the booze around their necks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's quite good as well. Because you are quite handy in a pinch, isn't you? So.
There we go.
There you go.
And our last Ask Us Anything is from Marge Jessup, who's not very well and may be watching the show, but also may not because she might have a kid with her. And I did remind her how unchild friendly this show can be. Is if you're the ruler of your own country, what would be the first law you would introduce?
Oh, that's a good question.
Corporal punishment.
For everyone or under certain circumstances?
No. That is a tough one, isn't it?
And by the way, while we're having a little think, we got loads. So I've picked out kind of one from each person. So I'm gonna keep the rest for next week. So we've got some in the can for future episodes. And you know, like again, if we dry up at any point, I will kill that bear. So just remember that.
Would it be too controversial to instigate a rule where if you're over 60, you can no longer partake in general elections? Because at that point, you know,
I'm not going to say it's too controversial until you've explained why, and then I might rail in on it a bit.
Are you invested or at that point? You know, okay. So let's say 70. Let's push it closer to the.
I think
life
so, because I'd say many 60-year-olds are a lot fucking smarter than many 18 to 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that there's a certain generation that are gammons, that are younger ones, and you want to punish them?
Well,
I would suggest taking away their second and third houses is much more of a punishment.
I wouldn't object to specifically you taking the vote away from my mum and Andrew's mum and dad, because I don't trust them with that. They can make a lovely sandwich and a dinner, but no, I don't trust them to vote. But I mean, that's more specifically them, not necessarily.
Perhaps that is I'm generalising quite a bit. To be fair, probably.
I would be keener to take it away from like what Jimmy said. I think I trust a lot of 60 to 65-year-olds with a vote more than I would a lot of 18 to 21-year-olds. Let's say. I do like the idea of someone around voting, though. I do think voting. God, here we go. I'm going to go anti-democracy here. I don't think everyone should get a vote. I think you should have to pass a bloody test to get a vote. And that test should be that you've actually read the manifestos that you are voting for. And if you can't answer at least 10 questions about what each party's doing, you get your vote taken away. That would be the first thing I would do.
That's fair. When you said the test, I was going to go, well, you could guide the test so people didn't get in, you know, but yeah, if it's about the actual party you're going to vote for, yeah, go for it. That's a good. I think it's a bit of a waste of a law, really, if that's what you're going to bring in. Crikey, it's not very exciting.
Well, I don't know, mate. You excite us then, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Come on, give us one of your.
I'm gonna ban football from the country.
What?
Football matches are gone. You can do them in other countries, just not in the UK. They're out of here.
Imagine the chaos. Imagine. Might just
I'd get over it.
Yeah, you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Just watch on telly, wouldn't you?
But then all those knobheads who are in a stadium, corralled in a stadium for a couple of hours every Saturday, are let loose onto the streets, Jimmy. What do we do?
Oh, they'll go to like a different sport instead.
You
Hockey
reckon?
will become very, very popular all of a sudden. I don't know. I wouldn't. Never in a million years would I. I like football, but never in a million years. Like if you're talking about like an unexciting law, banning one sport. That's
okay. I'm legalizing drugs.
All?
Yeah. Screw it.
Even
let
crack?
People. Yeah, they'll find out if it's good or bad, and then they'll just die off. You know, if it's let them go, enjoy themselves, get some tax on it, make some money from it.
I like the fact that in your new nation, it's just like you know, some of our citizens die because of crack overdoses. So be it.
I don't think don't think they deserve it, but I think if drugs were legal, it would have to be good stuff,
Hard
and
stuff.
people who are on crack might go to get some better crack from the shops and pay for it, and then it's hopefully it would be safer.
God,
Same with cocaine or cannabis or whatever.
Do you reckon like we get to the point where supermarkets have got their basic crack range? It's just like, here is your finest, and here are your basics. Like, cut your
His
cloth
finest
by
crack.
what you've got. Yeah.
Nice. Well, why don't you go one step further and make it mandatory?
Mandatory drugs.
Just saying. You know.
All right.
I don't,
Easily swayed. This is a fantastic cabinet I'm a member of. Love it.
Chris.
So we've got corporal punishment, free drugs. My boring one. Come on, Chris. Let's do something.
It's not
to make a
free
difference.
drugs. It's not free drugs. It's
Sorry,
drugs are
legal
legal.
drugs,
They're not
sorry,
free.
legal drugs.
They're quite expensive in my shop.
Taxed very highly.
So I would. Anyone that gets to a point where they are no longer useful, mandatory suicide.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, God.
That was when was that for most of us?
Trying to think now. Have I ever been useful?
Kind of like, right. So we're liquidized into some kind of protein
Food.
mush that we can then feed to the wider population. I like it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we could nick stuff from movies, couldn't we? You know, like what was it? Logan's Run, where like once you're over 30, you're kind of taken out the back and sent off to the happy place, that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of I wanted something that would make my nation a better place.
The nation of domination.
Well, to be honest, one of the things that I presume before we even start making laws is if we are creating our own country, I'm planning on not letting many dickheads in to start off with. So that counts out a lot of the laws that you would normally put in place, because I'm going to be very, very choosy on who's going to live there. So I think that precludes having to put a lot of laws in.
Well, so that's your law. You have to meet everyone and assess them. They have to come through a room where you're there and you assess them.
That's not a law. That's happening before. When my country's set up, I ain't letting people in if they're like
pre-screening.
I'm aware that there are children around, but one of the criteria will be no cunts allowed. Like there just won't be any in the country. So again, that means I can discount having to put a lot of laws in place, and then once we're in there. I just want to make sure that, like, under the counter, a few haven't slipped in, or a few thicker.
Well, there'll be some secret cunts in there. There will be.
Yeah. But,
look at Jimmy Savile. Everyone thought he was a saint.
I thought he was Jimmy the Saint. Is that what you're saying?
A saint, not
then.
the saint.
Oh, a saint. Sorry, a saint. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably how Hitler started, wasn't it? He was on a podcast, got some ideas.
He was just messing about with Goebbels, when he and they were saying, "Oh, you know what?
Sitting around in the beer halls.
Let's make crack free.
Mandatory
Can't do any
drugs.
harm, can it?
No cunts.
No cunts allowed."
Yeah. So I keep wanting to take over, but so
don't take over, man. Take
No,
over.
no,
I want you to take over.
That's all the questions in it, I think.
Yeah. And as I say, but thank you very much to everyone who sent one in. And yeah, if we didn't answer yours, it's because we're gonna tee him up for another show.
Yes, thanks as always. What are we doing? Have we got any topics? Some kind of glancing through the notes. What's this? The Week in Geek. What's all this about?
Well, that's from last week. I copied it over. I haven't done anything, so let's pass over that, because we were going to do it last week, but we actually went really long, didn't we? As anyone who watched it, we had the overly hour-long intro last week, and so we actually cut the Week in Geek.
Yes,
and bearing in mind that, I thought I'm not even going to bother prepping it this week because we'll probably run long again. And let's be honest, we are 54 minutes in at this point, so we are kind of running through, but. One of the things we were talking about pre-show, and I know we've talked about off-show, but generally the discussion topic had been what if each week, because we've been watching that as our weekly show. And one of the things that we're kind of trying to get to is what is our next weekly show? And it's quite tricky. It's quite tricky these days because we were saying everything drops as a series now, doesn't it? And you kind of want that show that is weekly viewing, and we were unsure as to whether really there is anything out there at the moment. So if anyone wants to kind of drop in the comments any suggestions of things that are either soon to come out or currently ongoing that we wouldn't be too far behind on, we can have a look at that. But also, this is our chance to get a bit of live what if feedback from you, Stu, because obviously you weren't around last
Oh,
week.
yes. Okay. Oh,
For the
God. What do I think of
finale.
What If? I really enjoyed that last episode. I know there was some kind of mixed thoughts on that, but I quite enjoyed the culmination of all the storylines coming together in a way. You know, I thought the idea of the Guardians of the Multiverse was pretty cool. Forgive me, I didn't hear what you guys said. I've only got a sense of what you have said on the chat. And I know that, like I say, you guys weren't. Some of you weren't particularly keen on the episode. I think the series as a whole, very up and down. I hope that's come across in the way we've spoke about it, and I would tend to agree with a lot of what we've said. You know, some good episodes, but quite a lot of, I don't want to say dross, but you know, I don't want my criticism to be that harsh, but certainly episodes that didn't miss or didn't hit the mark, I should say. So yeah, I don't know, a forgettable series, really.
I was to say, what's your excitement level like for a season 2? Because that was announced very rapidly, wasn't it, that there would be a season 2?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably will watch it because it's, you know, Marvel stuff and it is, you know, canon effectively. So I don't know.
Forgettable is right,
Yeah.
I think, Stu. I think that's a
Yeah.
good word to use.
I don't think I will remember it in a month's time. You know, I was struggling to remember the episodes from week to week, to be honest with you. But like I say, I liked the ideas that they came up with for the last 2 episodes where they pulled everything together. Not sure how I feel about it, you know, impacting the wider kind of Infinity Saga stuff, whether it diminishes it somewhat with how powerful they made that Ultron character. But yeah, it was okay. It was okay. But yeah, I don't know. Forgettable. Really?
I think we said last week, I think one of the shames for me is that for me it was two in a row that were kind of fit that bill for me. And I don't know, for all the money that Disney spend on their shows, I think it's a real shame that there's nothing in the gap in between. I don't necessarily want another Marvel thing, but I thought we would kind of get that rotation of Marvel into Star Wars. And I kind of hope that they would have some sort of tentpole show in between. So you maybe get Marvel, Star Wars, then something else that maybe we didn't know we wanted, but turns out to be quite good. Then maybe back into Marvel, Star Wars. But yeah, I do loathe these gaps between weekly watching shows. I think it's a bit of a. I mean, not that I pay for my Disney, but I think I would feel a bit aggrieved in this gap in between, going, well, what the bloody hell are you putting on? Like, why am I paying for this? Like, what is there to watch other than old stuff at this point? But
I think if go on, Chris.
Other even Pixar, or even if you went to Disney characters from like films, they could do some sort of offshoots from something like that to sort of plug the gap. And you know, there's enough characters and things that even say now, if they didn't have anything that was going to be a run of a set program, it's October, do a run of Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got a Star Wars Halloween, a Marvel Halloween, a Pixar Halloween, you know, and do like one a week or something like that. Then they've got enough licenses and character bases that they could quite easily do something like that. It just seems, they say, it just seems a bit lazy that the only thing they're trying to really push and do weekly is the Marvel stuff, because even Star Wars Visions isn't even being pushed on the front page.
I was going to say, it really surprised me because they just dropped that in one go, didn't they? And said, there you go, there's a lot. And I know they're short episodes, and I know that they're not canon, so I know that this doesn't necessarily draw as many people in. But yeah, I'm really surprised they didn't hang on to that. And then like post What If, go, okay, now Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3, you know, over the course of the weeks. It really surprises me they haven't gone with that model.
I think we're going to have to hold off till Hawkeye comes on, Stu. We'll just have to fill the time some other way.
I mean, when is that? That's November.
November, yeah.
November 24th. That starts 6 episodes.
That had a new trailer drop, didn't it, this week? And I say a new trailer, it just had a shorter version of the last trailer drop. And I don't think there was anything new in it. It was just a shorter version.
I'm trying to look at like future, well, certainly Disney Plus stuff, and there's not. I mean, you got Hawkeye and then the Book of Boba Fett at the end of the year.
Presumably that's December-ish time, is it?
Yeah,
or
December
is that
29th, apparently. I'm getting this from Wikipedia, so it could be
And
wrong.
from
But...
what I've heard, the Book of Boba Fett, that's going as one lump as well. They're not weekly.
Oh, really?
That. From what I heard, that is just going to be one drop. Which, again, seems a weird way of doing it, because I would have thought that, obviously, to make sure people keep their subscriptions going, drop it weekly, because that's what they did with Mando.
Well, I know we've talked about it before. I mean, most of the stuff I consume now is series that are dropped in one go, because then you can watch it at your own pace, and you know the whole story's there, so you're not sitting there getting frustrated. But I think I do have a desire for one tentpole program to be going, something really kind of like when Game of Thrones was on. You know, like, I could have waited till the end of the season, but Game of Thrones, that show that you have to watch weekly or it will get spoiled. And I miss that when it's not there. And yeah, I'm surprised they're doing that with Boba Fett. Again, I would have thought that would have been one of those kind of zeitgeisty shows that would get, the old school people sitting around a water cooler talking about it each week as it comes out. But
then I think when you look at how Netflix are doing stuff, and especially with like Squid Games as one, like that's dropped all as one go, and it's such a thing that they've just plowed through it. Is it that has now become far too much the norm?
Yeah,
to do it that way. So that's the way that they want to do it. Other than when Marvel have clearly said no, you have to drop our stuff weekly.
Yeah, as I say, I just think there's something in the market there, isn't there, for one or two shows to be doing their stuff weekly.
Yep.
And again, I'm the biggest fan in the world of dropping in one, but I think they're just missing a trick by not making. I think it makes those shows inherently feel a little bit more special because you are having to wait weekly for that, and you're getting that week where people are going, "Oh, wonder what will happen next week." Whereas now you did like. We'll use Squid Game as an example. Like you go into the office tomorrow and say, "Oh, just watch episode 3. I wonder what they'll do in episode 4," and everyone will go, "Well, I know because I watched it already," and tell you everything that happened.
Yeah, there's a lot more camaraderie when it's weekly, isn't there?
Yeah,
a lot more. Everyone anticipating it rather than as you've said with Squid Game. Like we would have probably watched it now if it was weekly. Yeah, but we haven't got round to it because it's not as. It's like, oh well, it's all there. We'll watch it at some point. Like I really want to watch it, but it's just there. Whereas if it's weekly and it's a point. Yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about having I can see it both ways. Having a series just dumped like that I find it a little bit overwhelming if it's just all there. I quite like having it in, knowing that it's coming in small weekly chunks where everyone's getting it at the same pace and there's no danger of spoilers or anything like that. I don't know. That's just a mindset on my side, I think. But
I think there should be. I mean, I say that. I mean, you even see it. I was going to say BBC. Like if they've got a drama, it tends to do that. But actually, that's not true either because normally it is being released weekly. But you go to iPlayer, they've normally dropped the whole season on there, so you can binge watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think going to what you say there, Stu, that there should be a bit of both, shouldn't there? There should be like models out there that cater for those who and like separate the shows out, so something for both. But yeah, just too many gaps at the moment of there not being that show where I go, Wednesday night is. I mean, go right way back to WandaVision. I bloody loved that. Fridays, I went, I actually have a lunch break on Fridays because I want to watch WandaVision, like as close as I can to when it came out. But yeah, nothing like that on the radar for me at the moment. Again, probably till Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the 2022 slate for Disney Plus. It looks pretty good. You got Miss Marvel, Andor, the Obi-Wan series, Moon Knight, Willow. Interested to see what they do with Willow.
Is Val Kilmer back for that?
No, Val Kilmer won't be back in that, will he?
Because a documentary came out about Val Kilmer recently, didn't it? Is that out yet?
No, it's on Prime. Well, it's meant to be on Prime because it's done by Amazon, but it's not been put on UK Prime yet. But it is on American. Right.
He's had cancer, hasn't he, recently?
Yeah, cancer and a couple of strokes and stuff. And yeah, he is not a well man. So won't be seeing him in Willow.
Oh, that's a shame.
Will we see Warwick Davis though?
Yes,
He's on bloody everything, isn't he?
he'll do anything. He loves it. He
He's a
loves
small
all that stuff.
person. Here you go.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
good on the boy for making a few bob during his life. But yes, like I do feel like, he'd go to the opening of an envelope if it was offered to him, wouldn't he?
But do you know, like when I say, of course he will. He loves it. He'll do anything. He does love it, doesn't he? He knows that he's gone from being 11. I think it was 11 when he did Return of the Jedi as Wicket, and he's just, he's like a mascot for Star Wars, not Wicket. Like Warwick is a mascot for Star Wars, isn't he? And he'll do all that. He loves it. He loves the fans. He's a genuinely lovely man. So yeah, if they were doing a Willow thing, he'd jump at it, like, because he loves it.
Yeah, I mean, surely he's got to be.
And he's a good guy.
Yeah, so there's plenty to come, but that's all next year. I don't know what we want to do. I guess, do we save it? Would have been nice for a non-Marvel thing. I think that would be my.
Well, I suggested Bake Off, Stu, but Chris don't watch it. Yeah, do you watch Bake Off?
Bake Off? I'd be up for it.
Fuck off.
I'd watch it.
Well, how many are we into that?
I think we're 3 in.
3 in. Bake Off.
Too late.
I used to watch. Do you know? I used to love the Bake Off, but when it moved to Channel 5, I didn't get into it. I just couldn't be bothered
That's
to go
great.
back.
It's better since Mel and Sue have gone. It's much better.
It's got adverts though, and I do not like adverts in me TV programs.
Watch it on all 4.
You can make a cup of tea.
Even on all 4, it'll probably have ads as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think chuck us some suggestions. If there's anything you've watched that's just started recently and you want us to watch along, then let us know.
We'll get it on the Facebook group as well.
We've got a space in our calendars, I guess, is the point we're trying to make.
We're open and pliable to any of your suggestions.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we will. We naturally transition into Hawkeye when it comes on, assuming that is a weekly thing. Probably.
Yeah, I presume so.
Yeah, it will be.
As it's Christmas themed, they'll probably want it to run over Christmas as well.
It'll run over fucking Christmas if that trailer's got anything to go.
Right, that's a bit of a tangent. So, anything else, or do we want to go on to what we've been playing and watching?
Let's go on.
Crack on.
Let's crack on. Well, I'll kick things off because I haven't done a great deal. I've been playing a bit.
Can I just? I'm just going to scoot off for 1 second. Sorry,
Yes,
my
mate.
missus has just got home, and I thought I'd do the nice boyfriend thing of saying hello to her quickly. I'll only be 30 seconds. How long does it take to say hello?
Me too. I'll be
You're
back.
going to say hello to my missus, are you?
Yeah.
See you in a minute, Jimmy. See you downstairs, mate.
No.
Well, hello, Lacey.
Hello, Stu.
I like I say, I haven't really done a great deal this week, being on holiday, but I've been playing some FIFA, bits and pieces. I'm still kind of.
Are you doing that? So I know when you last spoke about FIFA, you said you were going to do the player career.
Yeah, I have started it.
Career.
Yeah, I am playing up front for Colchester.
Of course, you went as a striker. Wait, why does everyone do that? Why doesn't no one ever play as a defender?
Well, mate, I'm only role playing it because Colchester desperately need a striker, so I was trying to live out some some bizarre fantasy, but that's what I went with, and kind of only played a few games. It's quite bizarre that Colchester get invited to this pre-season Italian tournament where they're playing in San Siro against Serie A teams, but never mind. I cracked on through that, and we won it. So there we go.
Hey.
But yeah, I like that because it's very much it's a role playing game, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's you're choosing perks and you're adding, you've got a skill tree that you're adding to and kind of just upgrading all your different attributes and stuff. It really is. It's not super in depth, but it does just add another little layer of role playing game to it.
I imagine what you start at like a 50 rated or something like that, and
you do, yeah.
You
don't. You're not a superstar player by any means. So, and as you train and play matches and manage your objectives each game, then you kind of go up in his favor. You become a first team player, and you go up experience levels. And when you hit certain level checkpoints, you can then unlock perks and such to and they vary on different things. Like you can become a stronger player, you can be better at first time volleys or whatever. Like, it's
Are they
quite
particularly
interesting.
noticeable, Stu? Like when you do the perks, like I mean, like speed,
No.
I imagine is noticeable, but is it?
Yeah, pace is.
Do you feel the difference? Like, so I don't know. Say you're up your shooting. Do you feel like when you bang the shooting button, like they're curling into the top corner a bit more? Or
I think you do on when you the stats bonuses you do. What I don't think you feel any real notes is I forget what I think they do call them perks, or a specific kind of, you get a choice of 3 that you can attribute to your player. You've got 3 slots and you can add a perk to each one of them. And these perks are, like I say, you're good at first time, good at volleys, long distance shots are better, goalkeepers get a boost in the last 15 minutes of a game, things like that. And I don't see much difference with those, to be honest with you. But the stats, if you're increasing your pace, then you do feel it on the pitch, and you're dribbling. If that increases, you feel that.
because I know we talked about it with the manager mode, and that's the thing I always worry about, those career modes in those sort of games are going.
Yeah.
Actually, does it hinge more on are you good at the game or not? So actually, is all of that just kind of tacked on? I mean, if you're a bloody brilliant FIFA player, can you just win every game as a low ranked, low rated player anyway?
You'd find it tough, and I think pace would play a big part into that. If despite how good you are, if you can't beat a defender because you're too slow, then you're going to struggle. So yeah, it does affect how you play quite considerably, I would say. Certainly those do, the stat increases, but yeah, it's quite good fun. I think I get more enjoyment playing that mode than the career mode. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of tactics and buying plays and such like that. My knowledge of world football isn't tremendous, so I'd be at a disadvantage really. So I kind of just like playing a game, having a manager give me 3 targets, whether that's make 8 passes, do 3 shots, or get a certain rating, hit those, and away we go. So yeah, it's good. I'm quite enjoying the single player mode on FIFA. The single player career mode. It's pretty good. It's pretty good fun. So I've dabbled with that this week, and the only other real thing that Amanda and I have watched or started to watch is Motherland. I can't remember who suggested this. Was it you, Jimmy?
Yeah, but you've seen it as well, Sed, haven't you?
Have I?
Motherland. Have you seen it, Chris?
No.
Oh, brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. I do remember watching a couple of episodes from that first series. Because I think there's 3 series out now, all on iPlayer.
Netflix.
Or Netflix, yeah. I think it's on
both. I think,
yeah. And Sky, but I think that feeds in from the iPlayer. Anyway, you can search for it, you'll find it somewhere. But yeah, just a really well written kind of observational comedy about parenting. Being
wowzers. I was just looking at the wrong thing. I was IMDbing it to see, have I watched this? And I found the show called Motherland, but it's about teenage witches. So I think I'm probably looking at a different show than you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's just really, I don't really know how to explain it. It kind of hits home, really. I think you might get more out of it if you're a parent than if you're not. I think there's a lot more that you can empathize with and kind of see the humor in. How cliquey playground kind of groups can be and stuff like that, and just the ridiculousness of certain situations being in PTAs and stuff like this. So yeah, it's a very fine British comedy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I have to say that what is her name? The lead actress in it.
I can't remember. Is it Holly something? No, it's not. I can't remember. She's excellent now, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in.
I mean, basically, you've got 3 main characters, haven't you? You've got 2 mums and a dad, and the dad is the main caregiver for his children.
Yeah.
because his wife is pretty horrible by the sounds of it. I don't think you ever see it. You don't ever meet his wife, do you? And he's always trying to be the best dad and to be best for the kids, and he's a real wet lettuce. And then his two mates who are the mums are real hard-nosed mums and are doing their best to get rid of their kids at times so they can have a glass of wine and stuff like that. And it's not their bad mums, just being a parent, stay-at-home parent especially, is hard. One of them works as well, has got a job as well as doing the parenting. So yeah, it's everyone's a different character, isn't it? There's not just all of the same. Everyone's got their own
you've
way
got
of doing things. So it's a good mix.
The actress I was thinking of was Anna Maxwell Martin, who was
I was going to say, was it her or Lucy Punch? Because I just looked up and I thought, I recognise those two. But
Anna Maxwell Martin, who was in Line of Duty. She comes in as the stern kind of. If you see her, you'll know who I mean. Just go Google her. You'll know the person. She's very versatile. She's doing this where she's a fantastic comedic actress. But on Line of Duty, she's like this sour-faced kind of police inspector. So she's got quite the range, and she's fantastic in this. And Diane Morgan is in it as well, who was in Ricky Gervais's Afterlife. Is it Afterlife?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She plays one of the people in the newspaper office. So yeah, fantastic cast, a very fine comedy about parenting skills, or there in the lack of. So go check it out. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. It's on its third series, which I think just recently came out, and I'm just started series 2, so absolutely loving that. It's kind of how we wiled away our Centre Parks evenings this week. I'm just catching up with that. It's really good.
I was going to tiptoe in and ask a question, but it's kind of a bit of a broader question.
Yes.
Midnight Mass?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Are we going to talk about it, or other people want going to watch it and don't want us to talk about it?
I haven't watched it yet. I've done episode 1. I've been waiting for me and the wife to get back into it. I don't know when I'll watch it. So if you guys want to talk about it, try not to do any spoilers. But if you do a spoiler, I can cut my headphones out for a bit.
I think it's hard to talk about it without spoiling it, to be honest. I don't know what Seddon thinks on that.
I mean, I guess it's hard for me to remember what they did in episode 1. So yeah, I think we probably would touch on some things that are probably not overly explicitly clear as to where the show is going. If we
is it brilliant?
I think it is.
I don't.
So there is an interesting discussion to be had there.
Yeah.
Maybe you will form the counterpoint.
I can cut out for 10 minutes if you want to do it.
I mean, I don't even know what it is. So
there's certainly some stuff that I feel like I could touch on, like as a maybe a brief discussion about it without going too spoilery. And I think partly because I kind of want to clarify. I don't think it's brilliant, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
I feel like it is average, and at points it is brilliant. But when it's bad, it is so bad that it kind of middles out in average for me. And I think it was a real surprise for me because as I say, I think when it hits its pinnacle moments and its peaks, and not necessarily in storyline, I think it hits a lot of its peaks in the way that it is filmed and the way that it looks and the atmosphere that it creates at points, that I think he was so close to making something fantastic. And I think Mike Flanagan, who makes it, has made fantastic stuff before. I mean, I love The Haunting of Hill House. And I think he evokes such a mood in that. And I think he tries really, really hard to do that in this. And I think at certain points, he does some great stuff. But on the other side, I think some of it was just god-awful. Like, absolutely god-awful. And, but I mean, never bad enough that it made me dip out of it entirely. But I was kind of interested, like, Stu, I guess, like, you never felt those bad moments that I was feeling during it.
No, I think it's very different piece of work to what Flanagan's other stuff. Certainly the Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. I think it's more those are more kind of, those two series felt more surreal in a way. You never kind of really got what was going on, or you could always question it. But with this, felt more right. This is what this show is. It felt more overt in what it was trying to do. In certainly some of the reveals that happened. But what I loved about it was only not just how it looked, and as you said, and the how it evoked a period, a place, and a time, and just it really kind of put that village island, really kind of brought it to life for me in that community. It touched on a lot of subjects that I have often thought about, regards to faith and stuff like that, and how faith sits in your life, and whether you actually have a faith, or those kind of thoughts, and that I guess that was kind of just an extra hook that it got into me, and that's why I enjoyed it a lot more than his more kind of surreal series that we had before from him.
And I think you're just kind of spot on with what you say there, Stu. And again, this doesn't lead us down sort of any spoilery past, but this is him kind of looking at a particular part of the horror genre, and we saw that with the haunting ones. Like obviously that was his kind of love letter to actual like ghost stories that are like relatively famous, but his spin on it. But this is him looking at a particular genre of horror and a particular style of horror. Like this is. For me, this is Stephen King. This is him doing his Stephen King story. Not that it is a Stephen King, but his homage to Stephen King. Probably one of the reasons why I didn't love it, because do you know what? It suffered from the things that Stephen King does. Is a great idea, doesn't stick the landings. In most episodes, I would say the first 40 minutes of the episode, that's where you go, oh yeah. I can see it. And in the last 15, 20 minutes of most episodes, I'm going, oh God. I don't even want to come back for the next one. But that religious thing, Stu, I can see it. I mean, this is layered. This is his kind of treatise as well on religion, how religion fits into that. Certainly, I guess his feelings and thoughts about Catholicism. But in the similar way to us saying about this is massively overindulgent for me. And this needed an editor. This needed someone to come along. And I've said this before about some of the Netflix stuff. They get a talented person and they say, here's the money, go and make it.
Yeah. Some of those episodes were long, weren't they?
Oh, and some of the discussions, like you will find that there are close to 20-minute long, almost monologues in this. But it's not that they're badly written so much, it's that they say the same thing over and over again in that 20 minutes. And you kind of go, yeah, I got it. I got it in minute 1. I got it in minute 2. I got it in minute 3. By minute 19, I'm really, really bored of this now. And it felt like he was trying to push his point so much that it hammered home. And again, it looks lovely, looks beautiful. But I found the same thing in that is sometimes I think he got lost in how pretty a shot he was doing. And the shot would have been pretty and worked if it was like 30 seconds, but it would be 4.5 minutes. And you kind of go, oh, come on, man. And I think it really needed someone to come along and say, cut here, cut here, cut here. And I think it would have been, again, better. But yeah, I mean, there's some great stuff in it. There really is. And I'll be really interested to see if you boys watch it, kind of what you think. But yeah, I would say to people, watch it. But certainly for me, it doesn't come close to. It's the worst thing I think I've seen of his. But that's not really necessarily criticism, because I think his stuff's really good generally. But for me, it is the worst. But I think it's the first time it felt like he had total freedom and didn't have anyone maybe questioning what he was doing.
I think I would agree that it is indulgent at times. I mean, particularly going to your point on the 20-minute kind of sections of dialogue and stuff from particular characters, I didn't mind those because I thought they were well written, and more importantly, brilliantly acted. You know, particularly the moments with Kate. Is it Siegel? Siegel?
Yeah. You can see
Um,
why Flanagan keeps getting her back, because she's really good, isn't she?
She is
she grabs you. She grabs you like when she's on screen, I think, and I think she delivers her bits very well. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zach Guilford, who plays Riley Flynn. You know, the other, I'd say the lead.
Okay, now there's interesting, because I think they should have binned him at the audition stage, because he was terrible. I really
Is he
did.
the main chap who comes back from?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He has the look. That's it for me. Like, he was
It was fantastic.
bland, beige, cardboard in a role where I think you were supposed to feel a lot of affinity to this person and do it. But yeah, he a lot of the cast. Terrible. I forgot to look him up. The guy who plays the main priest. I thought he delivered his stuff really well. And again, I thought Kate Siegel was good. And I thought a lot of the supporting cast were really good. But he was the one actor where I just, like, every time he come on, I was just like, oh, come off it. Like,
what's interesting? Have you seen Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, and he was brilliant in Friday Night Lights. I really liked him in that.
But he was younger, and he was surrounded by all the different characters that could maybe.
I almost felt like if they'd have said to him, go and do Friday Night Lights, I think he'd have come across a lot more compelling to me. But yeah, like, he was, he just, as I say, he was just like having beige on the screen when he was on there, and it was such an important character that he left me really cold.
That's interesting how you get two different takes on one performance, isn't it? But yeah, I guess what we're saying is go check it out, and I think it's really interesting. If nothing else, it asks a lot of questions of the audience. Well, it did for me. You know, to think about what you believe in and how you would, how you would process certain situations. And
how many episodes is it?
I think it's 10 or 9. No, 9, wasn't it?
Well, they're about an hour a pop.
A couple come in at about an hour 10, I think. You know, it's got that fluctuating runtime thing of some will be like 45, 50, some will be an hour 10. It tends to kind of run to the length of story that he wants to tell in the episode.
It's a good little Halloween watch, I think.
One of the things that I think is potentially why I would recommend it to people is I think it has a very interesting look on a horror genre, and a horror genre that people don't really look at in this way anymore. And I'm tiptoeing around what the genre is. And if it is looked at these days, it tends to be looked at very differently with a much more modern take. And this one felt like a much more traditional version of that horror genre. But yeah, well worth a go. But yeah, a shame for me, a missed opportunity, and 45-minute episodes with a lot of cutting, and I think he's got something great there.
But that is me. I can't really think of anything else I've done over this last week or since we last spoke. No, so I shall move on to who wants to go next. Who's got a plethora of stuff?
I want to hear from Jimmy, because he's seen a couple of bits and bobs there that I'm quite interested to hear more about, especially the fact that he's now managed to, I presume, find Orville on his Disney Plus. They've got it on Mersey Disney Plus now, have they?
They've got it on Mersey Disney. As I said, I've been waiting for the Orville to come on, because they said they were coming. It was coming in September, and it wouldn't come on. And obviously, last week on the show, we discovered that you both had the Orville, and it's because I've got the kids setting on my Disney Plus. Hence why I couldn't find it unless I went onto the other profile.
It must have been quite amazing though when you took that kid setting off all that stuff that you didn't know was on Disney Plus.
I did find some. Well, I it wasn't. We've got two profiles. You know, there's the kids one, and there's the one you've got to use the code on. So I did go on that in the past, but I just hadn't been on it for a while, and I was just waiting and waiting. But yeah, I've been bashing through the Orville. It's a decent show. You know, it's
Wild Ben's
sort of like old. Bless him.
Nice.
It's sort of like old Star Trek, really, Orville. It's sort of like the old Star Trek, which and it looks cheap compared. This is the problem. Like, the latest Star Trek looks incredible. Discovery, Picard looks incredible, but is Discovery's got worse and worse, and Picard was. I enjoyed parts, but not good Star Trek. And this is essentially quite good Star Trek, but looks a bit cheap, and it seems confused whether it's a comedy or not. They'd be better off just leaving the comedy out of it and just doing a Star Trek type show.
Well, that's the thing I assumed, because I know you sort of said last week about people have been saying it's more kind of Star Trekky than you might think, but I presumed it was littered and layered with humour because of the cast, and I thought, well, it kind of has to be.
Yeah. Well, you've got Seth MacFarlane writes quite a few of them. He's the creator, but I've always found Seth MacFarlane's live action stuff doesn't land. Like, I love Family Guy, I love American Dad. I think they're fantastic. I thought Ted was okay. A Million Ways to Die in the West, I thought was pretty fucking awful.
I secretly love that movie.
I don't know why. A Million Ways to Die in the West?
Yep, I don't know why. Because I don't think the jokes are very clever. I don't think the jokes are very inventive. I don't think they're very funny. I don't think they're very subtle. However, if it comes on, I'll just find myself watching it and enjoying it. But I could not explain why. But yeah, I get your point. His live action doesn't tend to come across as well as his animated stuff does generally.
It's the same sort of jokes, and you could imagine it in the jokes in Family Guy would work better. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess you can just do more with animation. But it's a nice watch, and there was one really good episode where they went to a planet where everyone wears a little badge with either a green triangle pointing up and a red triangle pointing down. And it was reminiscent to that episode of Black Mirror. When you meet someone, if you have a good interaction with them, you press their green up button. If you have a bad one, you press their red down. And ultimately, if you ever got to over 1 million downs, you were lobotomized. And they go down there, and one of them makes a stupid mistake pretty quick, and he gets filmed, and it's online. So everyone is giving him, you don't have to touch their thing. You just give them downvotes. And suddenly he gets arrested, and a guy turns up to represent him. So he's going, so what have I done? He's going, well, this is what you did. You grinded on this statue of this, Mother Teresa type character. He's like, well, it's just a joke, my friends. They're like, yeah, but everyone hates you now. And, you're on trial, basically. He goes, so you my lawyer? He's like, no, I'm your publicity officer. So I'm going to take you on shows where you have to apologize. And if they believe you, they'll go, okay, he's all right. If they don't, they'll vote you down. And if you get over, 10 million, I think 10 million, you're lobotomized. So it was just quite a nice sort of take on social media justice.
Why didn't we think of that when we were setting our laws for our countries?
But it's that they go, well, what's a fact? And they're like, well, what the majority of people say is a fact. That's what the facts are in this world. So it was a bit of a take on people being guilty until proven innocent, like we have in a lot of scenarios these days.
The kangaroo court of social media,
yeah. So that was good. It's worth a watch. There's 2 seasons on Disney Plus, about 12 episodes each. If you like Star Trek, you probably like it.
How long are the episodes, Jimmy? Are they like 40 minutes, or are they in the 20?
Yeah, 40 to 50. 40 to 50.
Because that's nice. That's one thing I wonder about Seth MacFarlane humour. That I'm kind of, you said about the live action, the movies. I think I'm so indoctrinated to the Family Guy. 20 minutes, get in, tell you 5 to 6 sort of weird jokes that are funny, get out, episode over. I do wonder whether he would suffer with length of episode at all.
There's not a lot of jokes in it. And that's why it's weird, because when the jokes come, you sort of go, and it's jokes like Seth MacFarlane's the captain. He's got his Uhura type character. They go, okay, there's an alien ship coming on. He's go, okay, hail them. Ship approaching. They're like, whoa, hold on, you're not on yet. Okay, I'm on now. Yeah, you're on now. Okay, I'm on. Yeah, okay. Enemy ship approaching, and it's sort of in Family Guy that sort of works with people. In animation it works. On this,
didn't they steal that gag from The Last Jedi? Wasn't that a big part of the beginning
Well,
of
they
that
did.
movie? Yeah, like
I think this came out before Last Jedi.
But you know what I
actually.
mean? Like now that sort of stuff is kind of, it doesn't feel, you're right, it doesn't feel like jokes anymore, because that's the sort of level of humor that's been integrated into what would be considered normal films that aren't comedies now, I guess. But
yeah, so the comedy doesn't that comedy doesn't work. There's a few bits that do, but it's worth a look. As I say, if you like Star Trek, it's like old Star Trek. It's as close as you can get to old Star Trek at the moment. But I'd say that's good. I also watched Young Rock on Sky.
Oh, how is that?
Yeah, 12 episodes. I think it's 12 episodes. 28 minutes long, so you can bash through the show. It starts with The Rock being interviewed in 2032, and he's been interviewed by, is his name Jimmy Woo, the guy from WandaVision?
yeah.
The agent. He's interviewing him.
Jimmy Woo,
He's interviewing him, and he's running for president. And in each episode, it starts with him being interviewed, and then he tells a story from his youth. And you've got him when he was about 10, I think. You've got him when he was about 15, and him when he's 18. Good actors playing him, like good casting for the people who are playing him. And then you've got people playing Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, the Wild Samoans, Iron Sheik, Junkyard Dog, and someone plays Vinnie Mac at one point.
I was
not very
say,
well.
do we get a Vince in there? Because he must have been
briefly, and it's not good. And his father, Rocky Johnson, and his mum, and his grandma. Can't remember their names. I started off watching it going, I sort of, this isn't for a wrestling fan. It was more, do you know what I mean? When you know lots about something and you watch a sort of easy version of something, you're like, it's not deep enough, it's not dark enough, there's not enough of what I know already.
I was going to ask, how much did it dip into the wrestling world? Like, other than having those cameos, like, does it do like the does it have like matches in it, and is it really kind of equate itself to that time period and what was going on in the wrestling world?
Yeah, it's pretty big. He doesn't in the season 1, like he doesn't get to the WWE. It's mostly about him trying to be an American football player.
Yeah.
But there's a lot with his dad and the other guys and Andre the Giant, and so there's lots of wrestling. His grandma was like the big promoter in where were they? Wherever they are living. Yeah, Hawaii, wasn't it? So there's lots of it's mostly about wrestling, and then him growing up in that family. 2 things I think would have been better. One, they could have got rid of The Rock being interviewed at the start of each episode. You sort of want it just to crack on with the stories about him when he's younger, not in this make-believe. Maybe that's the issue. Like, you've got this sort of make-believe thing of him in 2032 running for president, and then maybe make-believe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's prophetic rather than make-believe.
But then the realness of him growing up. So you've got true stories. It just sort of, I don't know, it's a bit weird. I'd rather it was just him narrating with him.
I was exactly what I was going to say, Jimmy. Could they have got away with, or would have been better served with just a narration by The Rock?
Wouldn't it just be a knockoff of Everybody Hates Chris at that point, though?
Well,
that's one of the things that kind of put me off of it. Was that I was thinking, and I liked Everybody Hates Chris, but I just think, am I just getting that again, but with The Rock?
Yeah.
But
it
I
is
mean,
that.
But the thing is, I'm interested that the integration of the wrestling world. You know, we're all wrestling fans here, but we are, and I think that sort of thing. And certainly seeing some of those names from the 80s who were coming towards the end of their careers when I was starting to really get into wrestling. I'm hoping it dips into theirs a lot. I've got to be honest. Confession time. I've got zero interest in watching anything about The Rock or with The Rock in it anymore. I'm totally burnt out on The Rock, but I liked the idea of that side of it. So if they lean in heavy to that, I'd be interested.
There's not enough of that, really. That's why it'd be better without him running for president. That's all sort of comedy and him sort of just playing himself. And the interviewers are always a bit shit interview him, and he sort of makes jokes at their expense, and I don't know. It just and at one point they introduce his running mate, and it's like two completely different stories. Again, as I mean, there's this fictional thing in the future, and then there's this real stuff, and I'd rather have all the real stuff because I presume the stuff is real, you know. And then it goes back to him at the end. So it's a framing device that is just not necessary at all. But that said, as it went on, I got more into it.
I was just going to say, just before you move on, specifically about what you said, support in the chat. I mean, pretty much spot on. Like, don't like the interview parts, and they should have done it like Everybody Hates Chris. So clearly, like what was resonating with you or not resonating with you is resonating with other people who are watching it. So yeah, seems like you're the voice of the people.
He is.
I am.
Yep.
I am
The people's
champ.
champ.
The people's champ. Yeah.
But it is, yeah. So because they're short, you can smash through it. And as I say, the casting of the different rocks is very good. Casting of his mum and dad and Nan are very good. And the wrestlers aren't bad. Macho Man, I'd like a bit more from. Andre's decent enough. He's not big enough.
I want to know what Sheik's like. Is he Sheik like?
Yeah, he's probably he's really good actually. No, well, you don't get enough of him. That's the thing. There's too much Rock being interviewed for being president, for fuck's sake, which you just don't need. Yeah. Surely, I'd rather see more funny Sheik stories.
Cheeky baby for president, surely.
You're positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Seddon, you'd hate lots of it, but you could find moments of nice storylines in it, and you'd probably say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Stu, I think you'd enjoy it as much as I did.
I actually thought you'd watched it, Stu. Sorry, I don't know why. That was one of the reasons why I kind of like pushed it into Jim's quicker, because I thought you'd seen it.
Yeah, I saw it I saw it advertised, and it's one of those things that I do want to watch, but other things came out that were more pressing at the time. So I probably will go back to it because they are all on Sky, aren't they? I believe. I sure they still are.
Do you know what though? Like, I think the honest truth of it is, and as I say, partly, I am burnt out on The Rock and his whole shtick. But I think if you'd have had young anyone else, I'd have probably watched it. Like, you know, if it had been young Stone Cold, less of a kind of integrated life, or young Jericho or anything, I think I'd have been more interested. But I feel like we know a lot of that story already. You know, like we got a lot of that when he was coming through, like, you know, his third generation stuff, the fact that he come through football, and I don't know, it just feels like a shameless cash in to me, which, you know, most entertainment is. But yeah, it really left me cold when they announced it, and I still feel kind of cold about it now.
It's more it's more bubblegum wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not rock and roll. It's there's some easy cheap laughs in it, and it's yeah, I mean, give it a go. It's worth a look, but don't expect anything. And I'm with you with Rock. The Rock isn't wrestling anymore, is he? Like, for me, he doesn't represent wrestling anymore. He just represents more Hollywood than wrestling. And you're right, a Chris Jericho show would have been great. I'd have loved to
imagine we'll see him in the ring at least once more, though, won't we?
I hope so. Yeah, I want to see him in the ring.
I don't even want to see him in the ring. I just been off to Hollywood now, mate. Move on.
What if he just got mullered by Reigns?
Yeah, I'd take that. That'd be good.
Go on then.
Down to the chief.
Yeah.
But there you go. I watched that, and then last thing, best thing I watched every Halloween for the last 3-4 years. Me and my wife always watched The Burbs. Tom Hanks at his comedic best, and Carrie Fisher as his frustrated wife. Corey Feldman doing his thing. Such a good film. If anyone hasn't seen The Burbs, the suburbs is what it's about. Some people, nice people living in the suburbs. There's a rotten sort of spooky house across the way, and a family move into it who are creepy. And it's about them trying to work out what creepy things they're doing in the house or what they're not doing in the house. And it's keeps you guessing through the whole thing. And everyone is brilliant. The acting from who's the other chap in it as well? He's in the Hate. I think he's in Hateful Eight.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Bert. I can't remember. Anyway, wonderful movie, horror / comedy. but not really scary and very, very funny.
You say that,
you have to buy it or rent it though. Unfortunately,
that film, I found it quite disturbing when it first came out and I watched it, and I don't know what it was. Whether it was the setting, whether it could just be your house next door. That could be play into it, but yeah, it really affected me, that film, when I watched it back in the 80s.
the creepy people from the house, the Kovacs, the young lad, the German Hans with his ginger hair and he's got big teeth and he's terrifying. He plays a real creepy fucker. Like it's a scary thing, but just little hilarious little moments in it. Like they eventually they're always trying to sneak around the men. They're like kids, basically. They're like, you could have had kids playing this part, knocking on the door and running away, but they have adults, Tom Hanks and whatnot. But their wives are like, come on, we're going around there. We're going to take them some brownies. We'll go and say hello. And they do. And they go into their house. And one of the guys, not one of the creepies, one of the regular guys, he's just sort of got his hand on the wall as they're all chatting. And he just finds a little bit of wallpaper just hanging off. And he's just sort of picking it like someone may, and then he just pulls this whole bit of wallpaper off the wall, and he's like tries to put it back on. Just stupid little things like that. And I don't know how writers come up with those little bits of business. Just you get doing the story, but just throwing these little gags in. Or Tom Hanks choking on a pretzel, just little things they just chuck in that are just fucking hilarious. Like go and watch. $3.99 to buy on Prime.
Bruce Dern, I believe, is the
Bruce Dern. That's him.
For me, definitely in the top 5 Hanks movies of all time, and possibly even top 3 Hanks for me.
It's certainly one I've watched more than a lot. I'd probably throw that. And I imagine you hate Forrest Gump, but I'd throw Forrest Gump in.
I don't hate Forrest Gump, but it probably would struggle to make me top 5 Hanks movies. I think I prefer that kind of era comedy stuff than a lot of the stuff that come later. But big number 1 by a million miles, because it is great and just a bit of thing for the audience that don't know. I'll throw it out there. Fuck you, Stu. Big is better than 13 going on 30. It always has been and it always will be. No matter what you say, 13 going 30 is a pale imitation of the masterpiece that is Big.
I have
13 going on 30
is excellent, Jimmy. Is the sentence you want to complete there?
No.
I don't get me wrong. I enjoy the film apart from the bit where they all dance. And they saved the party by doing the Thriller dance.
About that bit. Yeah, they do the Thriller dance.
Oh, you've got. Is it Anne Hathaway? No. Garner, isn't it? Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
Jennifer Garner. Yeah.
Jennifer Garner, who's very, very good.
Enough,
Mark Ruffalo.
Garner and Ruffalo.
We were talking about memory. If you'd have asked me to name her actress name, no. I reckon I could have sat here for hours. But I remember in Alias, she was called Sydney Bristow. Why can't I remember that, but not her real name? Stupid.
But you've also got Gollum in it as well, haven't you?
Andy Serkis is in it.
Andy Serkis playing a gay. Is he a gay English fashion designer or magazine?
Magazine editor.
And he's the least convincing homosexual I've ever seen. But it's nowhere near as big. Come off it. Good as Big. Sorry.
I have room for both in my heart. One has a slightly bigger slice of my heart than the other. That's what I'm saying.
I think I'd have to put Castaway at my top Tom Hanks.
Just chucking
list.
That in there. Not people. And I guess it doesn't count as a person, but no, just the one person.
Just the one, and they're wrong.
Chris, are you a fan of Tom Hanks?
I love it. I love it. No.
Yeah, he's decent. I'm one of those that Philadelphia is always a favourite.
It's one of his better comedies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know, I've never seen it. I really want to watch it, but I've got it on my watch list, but I don't know what sort of mood I need to be in to watch it.
I would suggest be happy. I'd suggest be happy going in.
Not the one doing it.
If you're in a bit of a grumpy mood before you start it, it's probably not going to perk you up.
No, it's not one of those that lifts the mood, shall we say?
Yeah.
But obviously, Big's also up there as the best comedy of his, and then we've always got Toy Story for his voice work.
Yeah, that's the one that kind of pushes Burbs probably into at 3 or lower. Is I'd probably stick to it. And
I put Burbs above them.
Shows as a clown.
I love Big and I love Toy Story, and I couldn't put him above them.
Toy Stories are bloody good.
Although saying that, I mean, maybe like because you are right. I mean, obviously Hank's Toy Story, but that's such a cast, isn't it? That voice acting cast is great. Whereas I think Big and Burbs probably live or die totally on the performance of Hanks, don't they? But yeah, Toy Story would nick number 2.
What about Dragnet? I used to love
Dragnet. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Dan Aykroyd, isn't it? Tom Hanks.
At one point when I was in school, I learned all the words to the rap song at the end of Dragnet, thinking that it would make me both popular and girls would like me. And I think I was the only person in my school who had seen Dragnet and that ever watched Dragnet. So none of those things happened, unfortunately.
I love the fact that Tom Hanks had a TV on his watch, didn't he? That bit always stood out to me as a kid. I'm like, what? He's got a TV watch. That's incredible.
What do you mean? Oh my!
Yeah, I'm just running through the list, his filmography, and he's had some great films. Tanner and Hooch,
Green Mile, Apollo 13. Sully was great. I really enjoyed
Money
Sully.
Pit.
Money Pit. I watched that long ago. Yeah.
Splash.
Joe versus the Volcano.
Right, but one of my least favorite films of all time, Joe versus the Volcano. The first time I would legitimately say I saw a shit movie was when I watched Joe versus the Volcano.
When did you watch it?
When it came out.
Yes.
Up until that point.
So when you were a kid.
Yeah. But like up until that point, I'd liked all movies. I think I was kind of in that. A kid growing up and going, every movie is great. It's something different. And then I got to Joe versus the Volcano, and I suddenly realised that cinema could be bad. And
do you know what? I watched a review of Joe versus the Volcano the other day, just a few weeks back, by the Red Letter Media guys that I watch on YouTube. And it gave me a whole new look on the film because I haven't seen it since I was about 12. And I remember thinking it was all right, but not up there with the other comedies. And then going through it with them and them talking about it, you're like, actually, this is really interesting. This is something different. This isn't supposed to be a full-out comedy. This is a lot more of a thinking film. So might be worth having another look at it.
That's the thing. Kid me, I think, just found it boring. But you're probably right. It probably wasn't designed for kid me. And I'd just seen things like Big and thought, it's going to be another Big. The two Hanks ones that I'd shout out that would go in my top 5 that I love is The Terminal. And I was not expecting to like The Terminal. I just thought, here we go. This is a typical Hanks vessel. He'll just be on camera far too much. I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought it handled the story, handled the characters brilliantly. And probably one that doesn't get a lot of shout is Road to Perdition, which is fantastic. Based on a comic book. Really good, Jimmy. I think you'd really like it. Very different Hanks. He's very quiet, reserved, and not playing necessarily the good guy as such in that one. And I think it was a real different way of seeing him, and I think he carried it off really well.
Who are we on?
That's me. We're on Jimmy and the
I
Burbs.
just chatted about the things I've watched. Burb news.
Burb news. Nice. Like it.
Lacey, what have you been up to, my friend?
So not a great deal of watching because the other half's had a lot of evenings off this week. So she's had the telly when I've got in, which has meant perfect for FM time, not so much for watching stuff. The only thing we watched was Squid Games, which, as I said, I know we're waiting for everyone to watch that before we go into that. And watching lots of WWF from 2001 in October because I'm doing that this month. So yeah, the one night that she was at work, I basically cracked through 2 episodes of Raw and 2 episodes of SmackDown from October 2001 for the other podcast.
I was just going to say very, very quickly. I've gone back and I'm listening to your other podcast, Wrestling from 20 years ago, from the start again. And I know you're on here and you're ours now, so bollocks to them. But bloody brilliant! If you like wrestling and you like and again, I think that is the purple patch for a lot of us, isn't it? That early 90s up to kind of early to mid 2000s, and you guys do a great stuff. And I'm actually quite jealous when you said to me, "Oh, I'm watching wrestling from October 2001," and there's almost that bit where it goes, Oh, because I know we've all of us have got like companies we like and don't like, but there's that real like itch every now and again to me to go, could I watch like a whole month's worth of wrestling from back then? And I think it would be a really good experience. So yeah, I do have a bit of jealousy on you watching them. Although saying that, you may well tell us that actually it's a bit shit watching it back. But
it's the month when they pushed RVD to the moon, and they really should have just given him the title. Because he has a main event match against The Rock, he has matches against Angle, he has matches against Jericho, and RVD was... How they didn't give him the belt until 5 years later, I will not know, because he was that over.
Because Heyman created him and Vince didn't? That's why they didn't give him the belt, surely.
The thing is, out of everyone that came over in the invasion, he's the only one the crowd got behind. Everyone else is middling, sort of, Booker gets a bit because obviously he's known. But other than that, the only one that got a massive reaction is RVD. And they just they give him a taster of it here. They get to Survivor Series, obviously he's in the main event at that then. And then he's back down to just being... Oh no, he's wrong with Undertaker for a little bit. And then he's just back down to being the hardcore champion and IC champion and things like that. They don't give him the big one till One Night Stand 06, and then a couple of weeks later he loses it because of
fun
weed
times
smoking with taboo.
Yeah.
Because of living in my world of legalizing drugs.
Yeah. If that had been your version of like if they had Saudi shows, but in whatever your country would be called, Jimmy, that'd have been fine.
Yeah, Saudi would have been fine.
Yeah.
So you watched a series of Raws. How many Raws did you watch?
So I've done four Raws, 4 SmackDowns. I've got a pay-per-view to watch because I haven't watched No Mercy yet. And then there's another 2 Raws and a SmackDown left for the rest of October.
Is there lots of... Because I love the idea. I'd love to go back and watch the Attitude Era because I didn't watch most of the Attitude Era. I'd fallen out at that point. But I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of gubbins in there for me to get through rather than the really good stuff.
There is a lot of stuff that you either don't remember or the rose-tinted glasses will help, especially during the sort of 98, 99 Russo era of Raw, because there was a lot of times when it was like schizophrenic 2-minute segment, D'Lo out, do something, off, back, next person out, do something. Yeah, everyone had an angle, everyone had a story, everyone had a place.
For example, Mae Young's hand baby.
Yeah. But not all of it really holds time, It is still quite funny for Kai and Tai and Choppy your pee-pee. But yeah, there's a lot of it that does not hold up now.
In my head, it's better, but there is that fear of, do I just remember it fondly, rose-tinted glasses? And if I went back, I'd go, oh my God, actually, no, it's as bad as it is now. I was just more susceptible to it at the time, maybe at the right time. But I've got to think it is better.
Well, the thing, obviously, I did obviously all the ECW ones from... I think I took over the ECW show once they'd got to circa like 96, end of 96, beginning of 97. So I've watched all of ECW from then through till when it closed. And a lot of that was stuff that I'd seen bits of, because obviously we didn't get ECW TV until the back end of 99 anyway, over here, when it was on Bravo. So a lot of it is first watching, but the pay-per-views and stuff I'd seen before. And that was really easy to go through and watch. But it was when I jumped back onto like the WCW shows and the Fed shows, and you get those segments of like, oh, I remember why I don't remember this, because this was awful. But then there's other bits that you rewatch and just remember how great wrestling can be.
I presume you're watching it all through the network.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I work on the theory. I mean, I've done bits and bobs of this for when I've been like macking around with TW, but like not obviously in the period where you are, because those companies have ceased to exist at this point. But like you've got all the WCW Nitros Thunders on there as well, haven't you? And all of the ECW TV. So yeah, I guess if you're a network subscriber, I don't know. Like as I say, there is. I dip back every now and again, but I do find myself going back just to watch the odd match, rather than like a whole show.
A run, Though it says a lot about the Fed. I haven't watched anything since SummerSlam. I think was the last thing I watched that's modern. And I have no interest in it, other than I know obviously I know Brock Roman's at the Blood Money show, but I don't even know who else is doing anything.
While we're quickly in the world of wrestling, you say the Blood Money show. I did have a look, and they look like that card is actually like reasonably stacked to a degree, isn't it? I think there's some good sort of potential matches, like some of their big stars are on it, and the sort of like show that you would say was out of place on a normal pay-per-view. But my God, like if I was tuning back in for anything, I could not tune back in for one of those Saudi shows. The whole idea of, and I understand why they do it, there's so much money, but the whole idea of them going and doing those Saudi shows just leaves me so cold. Like really, really couldn't tune back into that.
Well, did you hear like the thing at the first one when he said that the Crown Prince wanted Yokozuna, Big Boss Man, and there was someone else
Ultimate Warrior.
There was someone else that was dead as well. It was just like,
make it happen. Giving you £1 billion, make this happen.
They could have. Vince would have for enough money.
It's just out of place. But that's pretty much all I've done watching wise. But because
just very quickly, Chris, before we do, come on, boys. Bloody what Squid Game. I am bursting at the seams to talk Squid Game.
Yeah, Craig said we did it in 2 nights because she had a couple of nights off this week. So
I've watched it 3 times now. I've seen the season 3 times.
What, dubbed, non-dubbed, and in non-subtitles, just to get the full Korean.
Twice dubbed and once subbed. But yeah, I've burnt for it 3 times at this point. So
are you just waiting on me at this point? Who's seen it?
No,
Jimmy,
me.
Yeah.
I've only done 1 episode. As I explained, my week is, Tuesday is Bake Off night. Wednesday I see friends.
Take your iPad with you, mate, when you're having your 2-hour massage session. When she's asking you to have a kid, watch a Squid Game.
Because I'm watching it with the missus.
Yeah, but
trouble is, she goes to bed at like 9:30, and I don't come down from putting the kids to bed till like 7:30, 8. So we get like an hour and a half together.
I watched it with my missus as well, and 2 other times.
I don't know how.
That is impressive. On top of all this other stuff that you've put on this list, that's crazy.
Oh, this is weeks and weeks worth of stuff. But yeah, I've been monitoring through things. But yeah, like quick spoiler. The reason why I want to talk about Squid Games is it is absolutely bloody amazing.
Easily one of the best TV shows I've seen in years.
Yeah. And the fact that it's number 1 on Netflix and is retaining number 1 on Netflix is even more mind-boggling because it's good.
And it doesn't have the word sex in it.
Yeah. and unless Squid Game is a sex act that I don't know about,
You've never done a Squid Game?
Not today, I haven't. But yeah, I mean, like, it is... I think it's an amazing kind of phenomenon that I am going into work and I am talking to people who would normally watch Strictly, or like or Love Island, all these things that we've talked about before, but we probably wouldn't necessarily resonate on. And they are all saying, "You watch Squid Game's good, isn't it?" And I've never seen a show that I think I've liked this much get this popular. I'm bloody amazed. But yeah, this is
also one that's not in English.
Yeah. God, and that is miraculous for me. God, if I said to most of those people that are telling me how good it is and that I should watch it, if I'd have recommended anything subtitled or anything from an they'd have gone, oh, no, I don't watch that. Don't like reading, do I? You know, that sort of thing. And this is, I'm amazed at how much it has and how good it is. What we do in the Shadows season 3 is on its way to us soon, isn't it? And that is the only thing that has a bite of a chance of beating this for TV show of the year and our end of years for me. And this is in a year when WandaVision come out, and you've had me bang on about how much I fucking loved WandaVision. This is the best show this year by a mile, by a country mile. And strangely enough, one of the things that I think affected my enjoyment of Midnight Mass, because I watched that straight after Squid Game, and it was just kind of like, it's like the manager who come into Man U after Alex Ferguson. You go, you got no fucking chance, mate, have you? Because I've just seen the best. Follow that.
Midnight Mass. And David Moyes of TV
the David Moyes of TV shows.
Put that on your box, on your poster.
And very similar, because David Moyes was brilliant at times and very bad at others. So, you know,
it's the analogy that keeps on giving.
But yeah, I would love to. To be honest, I'd love to know what you boys think of it. That's, you know, I know we do this all the time, but that's one of the beauties of this is, you know, when you find something and you kind of go, do other people do? And amazingly enough, so far, I found a lot of people outside of the podcast world talking about it, and people I haven't talked about a TV show with ever, because we are so far apart on probably our interests and things like that. But yeah, we need to get this watch, people.
I will. I'll get on it.
Love you.
You have to excuse me for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Jimmy. Yeah. Do you know what? It's weird. I'm just not. I'm not. I want to watch it, I think, but I'm just not enthused to go out and watch it. I don't know.
You weren't at first, were you, Stu? Like when it first sort of, I think Midge had said about it, and it's something that I'd seen a trailer of, and I know it was something that you really kind of weren't keen from. I think from the trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I will try. I've got. I think going back to what you said at the very start, it's the fact that it is transcending people, you know, across a whole swathe of people that wouldn't necessarily watch this stuff, I think is testament to actually how good it probably is. So that should tell you enough, really. You know, that so many people are getting into it.
I think Amanda would really like it as well.
I think so.
Like, yeah, there are story elements into it that are right up her alley.
Gotcha. Yeah.
People die, people stitch people up, and then they die. Perfect for your wife.
Yeah, we did go to start it last week, but we, like I say, we went with Motherland in the end because we wanted something a bit lighter. But is it? I know it's. How is the dub? Because I think I will be watching it with the dub as opposed to the subtitles.
I watched it subtitled, so I don't know.
It's taken some criticism. Like,
I heard there was a preferred dub. Is that right?
It can be clunky like any dub, and it takes a lot of criticism for the quality of the translation in dub. Right. You know, I've seen a lot of articles out there kind of slamming it, going, "You missed the point. You mistranslated that bit, and you didn't get into the core of what that character was." But having done sub and bearing in mind the sub like could be totally off. I don't speak Korean, so I don't know. But having seen it in both, I didn't feel like I missed anything in that dub. Like some subtle nuances, maybe a little bit more character depth, but I think they lay everything out. To be honest, what you see tends to tell you the whole story. Like, I'm not saying what they say is inconsequential, but
it's a very visual TV show.
Yeah, you know who these characters are quite early, regardless of what's coming out of their mouth. It's laid out for you who they are and probably what journey you may or may not go on with them and how you may resonate them, potentially even with a bit of poor dubbing. But yeah, not noticeably bad. But yeah, it's a criticism I've seen thrown at it.
Well, the dub is the same as the sub, isn't it? Because I watched it. Stuart, did I say this last week how I did it? Because my wife only wanted to watch it with subtitles. We're watching it with subtitles, and she was learning Korean as well, so she wanted to do it like that. Nice. Yep. And I was like, "What? I want to watch it dubbed." She went, "No, we're watching it subtitles." I was like, "Okay." So I got my phone out and my wireless headphone, and I played it on that on my
Oh,
phone and
nice.
just hid
Yeah.
my phone. So we're watching it subtitled, and I've got the dubbing in my ear going, "Oh yeah, that's good." She didn't spot it, I don't think. But she did go to pause it at one point. I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it took me a good few minutes to get it caught back up again. But the dub is the same as what comes up on the subtitles. So what's the difference?
At points, apparently it doesn't. And I didn't notice it because I wasn't watching it with the dub and the sub at the same time. But there were apparently certain points where in the dub version they skip out on some words that are in the sub, and even in the sub and the dub that they skip out on some of the words that are actually in there in its natural kind of Korean language.
Right.
But also to a degree that might have been a conscious choice. Like maybe they just went like to keep the dubbing kind of somewhat in line with the mouths that are moving. Sometimes I think you make a choice to cut it. Like there's no point if it carries on to the next scene and there's other characters. But yeah, no problems with that for me anyway.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. Certainly, if you're saying it's something that Amanda would like, that certainly makes it easier for us to get through because we'll watch it together. Lacey, anything else, mate?
So I've played a little bit of PGA 2021, the 2K thing, because it was
it's free, isn't it?
free on PS Plus. So I was like,
oh god, I didn't realise that.
Had a bash round, had like one round on it, and was like, it's the same as the old golf games like they used to be. It will sit on my hard drive. I'll chuck it on once every in a blue moon. It's a good game. I'm not a massive golf fan, so it's not going to be one of those I'm going to sit there and constantly play it for multiple hours. But chuck it on for half an hour, do a round of golf once every couple of weeks, once every couple of months, serves its purpose, and I don't have to pay for it.
I'm not a big golf fan in life.
Yeah,
I do bloody love a golf video game. So now that I know that's for freezies for me, I'll download that. I do love. I think there's something. I mean, maybe it's because golf is really bloody hard in real life, isn't it? Anyone who's ever tried it, and I picked up a club, swung at a ball, didn't come naturally, went fuck that, never doing that again. Whereas on the video game, I'm not bad, so that's why I'll stick to the video game.
300 yard hits every time.
Yeah, like if I don't land it perfectly on the green, I get a bit knocked. Whereas in reality, I'll often swing and miss the ball, let alone not get it to the green. So
yeah, but yeah, it's free. It's worth a punt. Played a bit more Assassin's Creed Origins. Basically, just going around, opening the map up, riding a horse, and swinging my poison stick and poisoning Romans because I've got a weapon that poisons them on impact.
Nice,
which is fun. And then watching the corpses fall on the floor and will walk through the dead poison and then poisoning themselves and just causing carnage.
Not in our recommended list for games for 7 to 12-year-olds, just to clarify.
No. And obviously, because the other half's been at home and having the PlayStation, so she can play her Assassin's Creed because she's on Odyssey, the Greek one. I've been doing some FM and got my mighty Dunfermline into the Prem, won the Turks Caramel Wafer Cup Challenge Cup last season. The greatest
cup,
title,
isn't it?
Yeah. And then won the Betfred Cup this season and just got past the Christmas transfer window, and I'm 5th still. So doing well above my relegation expectancy.
I feel like Scottish football, if you're going to have the Tunnocks wafer, it should have been the Tunnocks tea cake.
Main cup, yeah, surely.
Yeah, it should have been the main cup.
Yeah, no, it's the caramel wafers. So,
I like them both, to be honest.
I am a fan.
But tea cake. If I could only eat one of them, tea cake would win for me. I'd have.
That's an interesting, Mum.
Oh, the jam tea cake! You're on the win there.
Little fluffy clouds of happiness in your mouth. That's what I think of them as.
But yeah, I have found. I think that is the greatest name for a trophy that I've come across on FM so far.
Nice. Yeah, it is a good one. There we go. Anything else, Chris, or shall we move on to Seddon?
No, that is pretty much my lot. Though
Yeah,
I did, it was meant to have a gig this week, but then actually realised that it was next week.
Ah.
Did walk to the waterfront on Tuesday, going, oh shit, that's next week. Whoops.
Yes. Let's go back to that conversation we had about walking into rooms and forgetting why you were there. Just walking to gigs.
Turn up to a gig a week early.
They must have thought he's keen. Look at him, queuing ready. Bless him. He hasn't been out for 18 months. And look, he's turned up a week early to this one.
And last but by no means least, Seddon, what have you been up to this week?
Playing wise, a bit the same as Lacey. I really have dived back into Football Manager. I think it's a convenient game for when it's either like kind of late at night and you don't really want to make much noise because it's a pretty silent game, or if you've just got someone on the background, or if you just want a game that you can click buttons on but don't necessarily always need to be attentive. But unlike Chris, I'm not playing in the Tunnocks sponsored leagues. I'm trying to take a Belarusian club from obscurity to the heights of Belarusian football, and hopefully the heights of European football, and from that maybe bring in a new golden generation of Belarusian footballers that may one day win the World Cup. And so far started off quite well. Promoted first season, predicted to get smashed and relegated as every player I had in my squad was 16 or less because I had no money and couldn't afford anyone. But I'm competitive enough to be outside of relegation with about 2/3 of my first season in the Belarusian top flight to go. So I think this one will hold me for a little while because it is quite fun playing with no players you've ever heard of and no chance that you will ever sign a player you've ever heard of. So, but yeah, many hours have been ploughed into that as it stands.
And lots of match fixing.
Yeah, it was quite interesting when I went into it. You start off in that first division and there's I think it's 12 clubs in that league that you start off with, and 6 of them have had points docked for match fixing from the season before. So I avoided those because I thought that gives me a big advantage. Like all of these, even if my team's shit, I'm way ahead of them even when it starts because they've had points taken off of them. But,
so for Football Manager, I've never played this. This has been about for years and years, right? Football Manager.
Oh yeah.
You don't play a football match?
No. So there's a match engine that does the football match for you.
Do you see the match?
Yeah, you can watch it you can watch the whole match. You can watch it as highlights, key highlights, just commentary. You can have it at different speeds, instant replays, whatever kind of really floats your boat in it. I mean, generally, I don't know about you, Chris, but I tend to have mine on key highlights only. I'm only really interested when there's something key happening.
I have it on the one above that, but not full match.
So the highlights,
the more
extended highlights.
Extended highlights, yeah. But I do have it in like double speed because I'm not having it at slow pace.
Yeah.
But is that more fun than playing the match like you would in FIFA or whatever?
I would say totally different experiences for me, Jimmy. Like I don't mind playing a game if that makes sense. But this scratches a different itch because this is all about. I guess this is the long-term sort of strategy kind of game where you design your tactic, you sign players, sometimes the players that you can. It's not always about signing the best, but to fit your tactic that you hope will pay off on the pitch, then the match engine takes place and you can do stuff during the match. Whereas you're right, the playing the game one, that's a bit more visceral, isn't it? That's a bit more like, come on, this is all about me. And one of the reasons why I often switch off the things like FIFA and Pro Evo is it's about how good I am, and I can take over any player on the pitch, and I can do this and I can do that, and I can dribble all around, and for 90 minutes it's me. Whereas this, you forgo that control, and it's all about all the things you do over the game weeks, months, years that build you to be the club that you ultimately end up being. And there's something sweetly satisfying about seeing that pay off. I mean, Chris, you're a big one for long saves like I am, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in 2058 at the minute on my save now. I've been all around the world. I've managed in South Africa, Argentina, Australia, Germany, Norway, England, now Scotland. And it's the point where I am in the game. There's no real players anymore. Every single person in the game is what they call a regen or a new gen, where it's just randomly generated player with randomly generated attributes.
Some comedy names as well in some of the regions. That's always good when you get someone with cock or dick in their name and you go, they're in the team. I don't care how good they are, they're in the team.
Quite right, yes.
Yeah. You know, it's that thing of like, for me, it's something that's like, people love Civilizations and the Command and Conquers and that sort of stuff. It's once you get past a couple of years in where you know all the real players, and there's people that will just play it to go, I want to manage Man United, I want to sign the world and make the best team ever, do 2 seasons and bin it off. Once you get to the long-term saves, it's much more like the strategy games and that sort of world-building games.
Yeah, I see.
And it's weird, like we said about that, what floats your boat. Like you said there, Chris, you know, like you can go on there and you can take over like Barcelona, Man City, one of the big clubs, and you get like a massive transfer sort of kitty. And I can see the attraction in it of going, like, here's the 3 best players in the world that we probably couldn't buy in real life, but let's see what they look like in the team. But I don't really get a lot of joy out of signing those ones. That, like, for me, like, it's the payoff of, you know, you go and sign like a young Argentinian 15-year-old that your scouts have said are half decent, and then 10 years later in the game he's the best player in the world, and you go, I did this. I took a chance on this person rather than just going, I did something that I know works in the game. And by the flip side, sometimes grabbing players who maybe you've liked in real life but never got a fair crack at the whip. You know, maybe they're at the wrong club, and you know, getting them in and putting your arm around them and going, come on, son, you got a home here. Get out there on the pitch, make me proud. You almost end up telling a story, I think. Well, certainly the way I do it in your head of you as a manager and you as a career, and as you say, all the tactic and strategy side of it that comes with it. I bloody love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've taken Braintree from non-league to the Premier League. You know, that's never going to happen in real life.
Yeah, well, I did it.
I've got through 3 grounds rebuilds and all this other stuff, and it's just like, you could only ever do that in a game. But also there are parts of it that I actually, with the tactic side of it, that do bleed into kids coaching, because obviously I do that as well, where you see it on the thing in the match engine and how they run the formations and stuff. It gives you that another way of looking at stuff, to then you can, if you are coaching and stuff, you can it's a way of trying something without getting the kids to try it on a weekend and get turned over.
And it is quite like, you can light touch it on that stuff, can't you? You know, there are kind of a lot of default tactics you can go with and things like that, but you can go really in depth with it as you want. As you say, Chris, you know, you can tweak it around and you can go, okay, I'm playing a tiki-taka, but what if I put that person up as an inside forward? What would it do? And okay, it is still a game, but it gives you an idea of what you could do on a football pitch, and how that would react and how much space that leaves and things like that. But yeah, very in depth, very, very good fun if you are into that sort of thing. But it's not a pick up and put down game, is it? It's not something where you play an hour of it and you could get anything substantial or anything kind of meaty out of it. An hour in that game, you've probably just got to the first press conference where you're saying to the world, hello, I'm taking over this job. Or if you're lucky, you might have gone through
looked at your reserves.
And seen what sort of stats they had. And it is a stat heavy game. There are numbers galore in this game for you to process if that's your thing. But again, you can light touch that a bit. You know, you have coaches, and the coaches will give them star ratings to give you an idea of how good they are. But if you really do get into it, you kind of go, right, this is my winger. I know my coach says he can play this position, but actually this one he doesn't like as much. I think he's got a bit more pace. I think his crossing's that little bit better, so I'm having him on instead. So yeah, it's whatever you want it to be. But yeah, it's certainly not a fun pick that for 10 minutes and move on with your life.
It's certainly not fun.
Yeah.
Slightly concerned at Seddon surrounding himself by 15-year-old Argentinians and Belarusians, to be honest. feel
Well,
intervention may be required.
You keep telling me when the Renaissance Boys shows gets up and running, and that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to get one of my Football Manager regens in to be the replacement me.
That is true. What else you been up to then, my friend?
The only other thing I was going to touch on, I won't go massively in depth on it. I actually watched it a couple of weeks ago, but I'd forgotten I'd watched it, which I guess is probably a bit of a testament to what it is. But I thought it was worth putting it out there because it was, I think, expected to be quite a big show and probably would have been a bigger show if it hadn't run into Squid Game and the sex education dropping on Netflix juggernauts that were out there. But it was Clickbait. Did anyone see the kind of trailer for this when it come out?
Amanda's watched this and Amanda loved it. Oh, I will pass on her thoughts. She really did enjoy this.
I mean, it felt to me like it's very much designed in that that show You that they had on there and things like that. It's very much in that mold of, I think, a bit of a above a teen drama, but probably not too far off of that. You know, somewhere sort of teen to younger adult kind of a bit of salaciousness, bit of sex, bit of a young cast, like quite modern in what it does and all this sort of thing. And beautiful people, and you know the title is Clickbait, and the concept for the story is you in episode 1 you're introduced to a family, and by the end of episode 1 the father husband in that family has disappeared, and messages are sent to his sister and then posted on YouTube showing him locked up in a room. And he's holding up like kind of cue cards saying things like, I'm a sexual predator, I'm a horrible human being. And it says on there, if this video gets, I think it's 5 million views or 5 million likes, he will be killed. And then the rest of the series predominantly is about the police getting involved. Because initially they're dubious. They think it's a prank. They think it's an online prank and this isn't actually happening. And as the episodes go by, you get the story. So you get what has happened to him. Why is he in this room? Who is doing it? Is he a sexual predator? All of these things, I guess, all of the kind of mystery things that you expect to see in a show that has this kind of as a premise. And it frames it very much like each episode is predominantly focused on one of the casts. So let's say the first episode is the sister. So you see the story but through the sister's eyes. Then when you get to the next episode, it is the wife, and it picks up, the story carries on. It's not like you see the same part of the story again, and it meets out its kind of mystery elements like that. What was the show we watched, Stu, that we were talking about? Oh god, here we go, memories. The one that was set over the 2 years that we both liked. Oh my god,
Cruel Summer.
Yeah, and I think it has some similarity to that as well. It shares some of that DNA in its storytelling. I would avoid it. I think it's not very good. Like it has that, and I think if that's your cup of tea, I think you'll like it. As I say, I think anyone who liked You and things like that, and I can see why Amanda likes it, because again, it's got a lot of Pretty Little Liars about it and stuff like that. I think I wouldn't recommend it to any of you guys. I don't feel like it kind of fits that niche. It does motor at a reasonably quick pace. So I think it's 8 episodes and they're all around half an hour to 40 minutes. And yeah, I think it's speedy and trashy, but not necessarily in that insulting way. You know, sometimes there is a bit of trashy TV and you want that. I just think comparatively to other stuff, like, again, watched it not long after Cruel Summer. And I think if I was going to say to anyone, watch something like this, go Cruel Summer. Much better example of this. And one of the weakest parts for me is that it feels very formulaic. And you see a lot of the twists and turns coming from a mile off, except for one of the major twists and turns, which I'll be honest, you'd never see from a mile off, because when it happens, you just go, oh my God, really? Like, this is what you're going with here. But yeah, generally like quite formulaic. And the main actor is the guy from, in fact, I'll get his name. He's the guy from Entourage.
Vinny Chase. Piven.
No. Oh, come on. Where is it?
Is it?
Got it here.
Dylan.
Uh,
Who's he play?
Oh It's Adrian Grenier. He plays the main guy, the main actor guy in
Vinny
Entourage.
Chase.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and he was fucking terrible in that. He's fucking terrible in everything because he's a fucking terrible actor. And he's in this, and he's their main actor. But I can see why they did it because they wanted someone who had a kind of very. He's the guy who's kidnapped, and I think you look at him and he does have the movie star looks, and I think. Again, it was partially interesting because I think they went for put someone in who looks like he would never be the bad things that people are saying he is to kind of leave you guessing. Whereas, unfortunately, I just went, he's such a bad actor. He probably is a pedo sex predator and didn't care about him. And actually, for most of the episode, was praying to get to 5 million likes. So they killed him. That was what I spent most of the show doing. But I think it has an audience, but yeah, I wasn't that audience, and I'd be shocked if you guys were. But there are infinitely better examples for me of these sorts of shows that I would say watch instead. Even Pretty Little Liars, like an often mocked show. But if you want to watch something trashy with a bit of mystery, go with that instead. But a much more compelling and more interesting cast.
Excellent. Anything else you want to bring to the table?
No, that will do. That will do for me.
That'll do you. Lovely. Chipped away at a couple more on his list. It's a big list, I'm telling you.
The thing is, partially one of the reasons why I'm chipping away at it slowly is I'll be honest. A lot of the stuff I've watched on that list just isn't very good. When I was burning through a lot of the Netflix stuff that's recently come out, some of the movies, the TV shows. There was just a lot of average to bad in there. I think the only ones that, as I say, I'm really kind of interested to get into, probably a bit chunkier, is maybe a bit more Midnight Mass down the line. Kevin Can Go F Himself and Squid Games at some point. And there is one that I actually forgot to write down that I'll probably do next week, which is called Chestnut Man, which is a Scandinavian crime murder mystery, I guess.
Talk about that all you want, Sed. Talk about that all you want.
No, but I'm not going to do it now. But it is something that I really enjoyed, and I want to kind of dip into it a bit longer next week. But yeah, Chestnut Man. If you haven't watched it, jump into it. It's bloody brilliant.
Yes. Lacey, you've put in a good suggestion here, mate. Undertaker Netflix show.
Just to ask a question, I actually forgot that last week. I meant to ask it last week. Have we watched the Undertaker Netflix?
I haven't. I want to.
No.
I've got.
I have watched that as well. Sorry. Yeah.
Should we watch it? Worth our time?
I'm thinking that for next week to replace the what if section.
I'll definitely watch that.
And I presume when we say that, there isn't a second one. We are talking about the Choose Your Own Adventure, New Day, Undertaker. Yeah, cool. So just thought maybe they sent another Undertaker, like young Undertaker on there. Yeah. Goes through the time when he burnt down his family house with Kane and his mother and father inside.
Young Undertaker, young Taker.
That would be good.
Because it's the Choose Your Own Adventure as well. We might all get completely different experiences as well.
Yes. We should probably write down what happens and when.
Spoiler warning. None of us are getting a different experience.
Oh, okay.
Let's give it a go.
At least one of you on this show will fucking love it.
I know who my money's on.
Possibly two of you might fucking love it. But one definitely will.
Me.
Maybe.
It's fucking brilliant. Game of the year. Right, let's I've got some intriguing bird news here. Spy birds. Who's brought this to the table?
Lacey, our new Birdman.
Oh, Chris. Okay, let me cue this up. Spy birds. Oh, nice. Yep. Okay, I can see where this is going. Okay, bear with me. I want that. There we go. Let's do that. Israeli bird spies and other weird bird news. In case you missed it, Turkish conspiracy theorists believe a small bird was used as an Israeli spy. killer mice are terrorizing baby. What? Petrels? Petrels? What's that? What is one of those? Anyway, and an abused red macaw was rescued by local police in California.
See, I only went about the first one. I didn't read any of the ones further down. It was just about the spying bird.
Oh, but do you know what? I'm loving that already. Weapon of mouse destruction. That's pretty good. My eyes are drawn to that already. But bird spy view. This is amazing. Bird spy view. Do you want to read it, Chris? As it's your story. Sorry, I'm taking.
I'll let you.
Okay.
Yeah, I just bring the joy.
Okay. Farmers in southeast Turkey were worried their airspace was infiltrated by spies from nearby Israel. But unlike our very own drones, these spies know how to blend in with their natural surroundings. Villagers near the city of Gaziantep found a dead bird with a band labeled Israel, according to The Atlantic. The small European bee eater also had an enlarged nostril, which could have been implanted with a microchip or other spying device.
Oh, God.
Suggested one local official, according to the Turkish daily Haberturk. Eventually, the bird was examined by counter-terrorism officials who decided the bird wasn't a threat to national security. The bird was banded, according to The Atlantic, about 4 years ago to track the migration patterns of the species. Phew.
Oh, so it's a lie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It would be a very weak spy strategy to put the name of the country you're spying for on you.
Yeah,
It's like when Peter Parker in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 puts his name on his camera. And goes out as Spider-Man taking pictures with the lizard.
But the insertion of the spying chip up the nose—that's what got me here. It's almost like a bit from Total Recall when he's got that tracking probe up Arnie's nose that he has to pull out.
Yeah.
But well, there you go. I'm sure things like this must happen, surely.
As I say, I think they don't put the country of origin on them though.
No, granted. Do we want to read about weapons of mouse destruction?
Yes, please.
Whilst we're okay, on the small Gough Island in the South Atlantic, common house mice are eating millions of endangered baby birds a year. Oh, this is terrible. Terrible bird news. This is coming from the National Geographic. A new study shows that since house mice were introduced to the island 150 years ago, they have grown to supersized proportions on the important seabird colony, which hosts 10 million birds of 20 different species. Specifically in danger of these killer mice are Atlantic petrels, whose only breeding ground is thought to be on Gough Island. Based on their study, researchers estimate that 1.25 million of the 1.6 million petrel chicks born each year are eaten by mice. Mice cannot be ignored as a potential threat to island fauna, and island restoration and management plans should routinely include eradication of introduced mice. I'm not sure who that quote is from, but I know researchers wrote an abstract of their study published in Animal Conservation.
I did not know that mice ate birds.
No, I didn't. No.
The old enemy. The old enemy.
Mice, well, there you go. Well, these are supersized mice.
Cats get mice, mice get birds. That cycle goes on and on and on. Well, apparently, according to this, it does.
I'm not buying this.
I thought it
more nonsense.
Dog, cat, bird.
Dog, cat, mouse, bird, apparently.
Spider, fly.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in Tom and Jerry the mouse befriends a bird in one of the episodes.
Yeah, I don't know if you can base your wildlife knowledge on cartoons from Warner Brothers.
Is he befriending him for future murdery kind of things?
Possibly.
Yeah, keep your friends close.
Doesn't have to climb the tree to get him then, does he? Just says, come on down here, mate. I've got a secret to tell you.
That's true.
God.
Yeah.
I'm going to gnaw the back of your head off.
Yeah.
Tweety pie. Is it Tweety pie?
That's not quick straw poll. Tom or Jerry? Who's your favourite?
Tom.
Jerry.
I'm with Jimmy on this. I think Tom was misunderstood. You know, he takes a hell of a beating from that mouse.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Tom was a prick. Sorry, Jerry was a prick.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a cat, so he wins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about your
Yeah.
predefined hatred of cats. That would cloud your judgment. Yeah, there we go. There's some bad news. Let's do the whole lot. Parrot Patrol. Local police rescued a red macaw abandoned outside a Trade Joe's last week in Capitola, California. According to
A lovely little bit of accent work there, Stu.
Thanks.
That was beautiful. You did that like naturally, and it sounded like the accent that I believe it would be said in. So yeah, beautiful. I think this one it should be a Renaissance men trait. I think we should really pat each other on the back when we do accents well. Just saying.
I haven't done one accent this entire show. There hasn't been the opportunity.
Oh, you did your mates from Mersey?
One of the first
Oh, I did
things you was
Manchester,
an
of course I
accent.
did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we think it was Manchester. We're not.
Sorry,
I'm still not entirely sure.
Just the only commenter on Tom and Jerry from their chat went
Jerry.
Jerry. Oh, I'm surprised. I thought there'd be more Tom love, but there we go. Okay, where were we? Local police rescued a red macaw abandoned outside of Trade Joe's last week. According to Sergeant Cliff Slomer, a subject in a brown van, that's the only description we have, drove up, extended his arm with the bird on it, let the bird step out onto the shopping carts, and then drove. What? The bird was malnourished and was found with road rash, abrasions, a bruised beak, and gum stuck on its feathers. The bird will be taken from Native Animal Rescue to Mickaboo Companion Bird Rescue that will be cared for by a foster parent.
It's just weird, isn't it? Like why you'd go out and I mean it's good. It's good that this parrot who is probably being mistreated is now somewhere he won't be mistreated. But why did they take a van ride out and then just gently kind of put it on top of a shopping trolley? Then
Because
drive just so elaborate, isn't it?
Have you ever tried to flush a macaw? Like, it don't work.
I just have visions of that scene in Goodfellas where they just roll up to the hospital and just chuck out.
Yeah,
Someone who's been beaten up by some low tier mafiosa.
yeah, it's all very very elaborate and very odd.
It is. Well, I'm assuming the guy in the brown van was the guy who did all this to the bird, and hence was kind of just.
Wouldn't you just put him in the garden?
It's a bird; it can fly away.
And
He's
but,
got
Chuck
bubble
mice.
gum in his. He's got bubble gum in his wings.
but the thing is, if it doesn't, and then someone says, "Oh, there's there's a parrot in your garden," you go, "I don't know how that got there." You're not going to go, "Yeah, that's mine," and I did that, are you? Like, it just seemed I'm just amazed by that kind of concept, and it sounds very sort of Fargo-esque, doesn't it? They're kind of driving along in a brown van to try and get rid of something, but in a very poorly planned out way. But...
Yeah. Strange, very strange. But there we go. That's our bird news, and a plethora of bird news. Thanks, Chris, for that. I've got two. I've chucked in my own, and finally, I know. Did you provide the other and finally for us?
Yes.
I like to look at yours. But as I was just kind of scrolling through the BBC website, looking for some weather updates, I stumbled across this. Possibly a world championship that I think I could be world champion at this, boys. I think I've got a chance.
Is it fighting people with a stick?
No, it's balloon keepy uppies.
Wow.
Yep. I've entitled this story "The Balloon Door." See what I did there? This is a world championship that's been created by Gerard Piqué, Barcelona and former Spain centre back.
Yeah, I know him.
It's married to Shakira. The game requires only one balloon, and with the simplest of rules, do not let it touch the floor. And now it has an official World Cup. Let's have a little look at this footage.
So you're against each other, right?
Some of the elaborate sets that they're using as well. Like they've recreated living rooms, and you have to go over the couch and stuff. It's amazing.
I fancy my chances. Why
really, Stu? I don't fancy your chances.
I'd be there with a giant pack of Mentos, just smacking the other player in the leg. Get out of the way.
Were we as kids balloony keepy uppy people?
Yeah, I loved it.
Everyone does.
I'm glad because I could. I mean, hours and hours and hours I could do that for. I loved it, and I never got bored. But all you're doing is just patting that thing in the air. But I'd never, ever got bored of that.
Now this is what confuses me here, because it's a bit like sort of a badminton or something like that. So whose bright idea was it when they went, what, and we'll have a net? No, not a net, a car.
Well, I imagine there's some
car
huge
between
sponsorship deal to have the VW in there, but yeah,
No, surely we'll have a net.
Clearly, they should have brought the one from the Euro, shouldn't they? It'd been much easier with the smaller one.
Yeah,
it's an 8 meter by 8 meter court that you have to stay in, and some of them they don't have obstacles, some they do. That's what I say. Like, I just having a look, and there's one that's someone's living room, and I think yes, the car was probably a heavily sponsored. Yeah, let's stick that car in there one night.
Bastards copied my pun, eh? I genuinely came up with it in my head. I didn't read that. I'm just saying.
But by the way, I just want to clarify how copying works, Stu. They wrote it before you thought of it because you got it from here. But I'm not saying. But I think you come up with a pun independently.
Yes.
I don't think we can accuse the BBC of copying.
Oh, okay.
They wrote it first. Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
I like the game. And I guess you have to hit it upwards. You can't hit it down.
Yes, correct. I think an official shot in the game, I think I read this earlier, was you have to hit it upwards. That is considered a shot, as opposed to just spiking it into the floor each time.
I'm going to be honest. I reckon that's most of my day tomorrow gone finding this on YouTube. I reckon I will lose about 10 to 14 hours tomorrow watching Balloon Keep You Uppy on YouTube now.
And Chris, and finally, this looks terrifying. I'm not going to lie.
And that laugh accompanying it was terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. I've just seen one of the words.
Who is Wrinkles, the clown parents hire to terrify their misbehaving children?
Oh, my God.
I'm on board.
I just want to go on record. I'm afraid of spiders. I am, like, irrational fear. I do not like clowns as much as I do not like spiders. I fucking hate clowns.
There is a full video of a trailer of
there's a documentary about Wrinkles the clown, which is he's a
US urban legend, and there's even a documentary about it. So what? Parents can hire him. Why wouldn't you just buy a clown mask? This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting.
Why don't you just lock him in a cupboard yourself?
So he wanders round.
Oh, I can see him.
Basically, just sort of freaks kids out, like staring at windows. And there's one where he's under the bed, and he slowly opens the bed with balloons coming up, and he comes out. It's just, I'm definitely watching the documentary as soon as it comes out.
I honestly think, though, and again, they're unlikely to have this as a concept, but I reckon if you reverse this and you advertise this to kids to freak out their parents, I reckon the parents would be more shit up than the kids were. Imagine that, Jimmy. You're sat there of an evening, kids have gone to bed, you're there with your missus, you're watching someone on Netflix, and you got that staring at you through the window. I reckon you'd be more shit up than the kids are.
Do you know what? I don't like the idea of people getting hurt or killed or anything like that. But that man deserves to be hit by a car. Like, he deserves to be standing outside someone's house with his balloons going, I'm earning my money, and then a car to fucking break his leg. I'm not a violent man, but what a horrible cunt.
There was a phenomenon, wasn't there, going back a few years now, where there was a lot of that going on in America, wasn't there? Like, people filming themselves dressed as clowns,
and in England,
people out, and in England, yeah.
But what's worse? What's worse? Is it the guy who's accepting the money to do this, or is it the people paying to do this? I side with the people paying to get it done to their kids. That's just horrendous. I mean, he's just the clown guy. He's just seen a gap in the market.
Parents deserve to have someone else turn up in the clown outfit. And fucking rob them.
Just all that guy's doing. He's just trying to earn a living, isn't he? He's just doing a good nice work, like an
entrepreneur.
Assassin. It's not the assassin's fault that someone died, is it? It's the person who paid him to do it.
Your oldest profession, isn't it? Clown. Scare clowns, scaring kids as a clown.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jimmy. Though that's pretty fucking gross, isn't it? I think, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think a little bit of psychological warfare with the kids every now and again, but things like, I'll go and buy you a chocolate bar if you just shut up for half an hour. That level of dealing with kids, but
That's fair.
yeah,
Yep.
that is ropey, in it. And
My kids would never sleep again
yeah,
if that came out from under the bed.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that finds it funny?
just
Clearly.
just one question though, right? What if your kid was being a real prick for a long time, like maybe a year of sustained prick? Would you do it then?
No, because they are pricks. Kids are pricks. They do your nutting. I still don't want to scar them for life.
You're a good man, Jimmy. Never let it be said that you're not.
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah.
That was an American thing, wasn't it? I'm just assuming.
Yeah, it was American.
Florida.
And there is a documentary coming out about him as well.
Thing is, I can't. I said about scared of him. Like, I couldn't watch a documentary about it because knowing that he is real as well. Like that's the thing that I hate about clowns. Like, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the clown from It, but at least the one from It, I could kind of in my head go, I can watch this because he isn't real. Whereas it's people like this, people who dress up like clowns and do real life shit. That's what I hate about clowns because anyone could do that. Any fucking psychopath serial killer can dress up as a clown just to make it that infinitely worse as they're killing you. Yep, hate them. Ban all clowns. Change my mind from what we said earlier. That's my law. Ban all clowns.
If you see a clown, it's like if you see a grey squirrel, you're allowed to shoot it.
Yes. Are you allowed to shoot grey squirrels? What?
Yeah, but you're not allowed a gun, so it's a bit of an issue with the law there. But
yeah, what about foxes?
Mm.
What if someone paid to have a fox come peer up from your bed?
No, I like foxes. I'd punch its fucking nose off if it came up at me, though.
Okay.
The clowns are I'm with Seddon, man. Clowns are just...
they're awful things.
They're scary, creepy things, aren't they?
Used to be one where I grew up. There used to be one of those kind of I call them fairground, but it was seaside town, and it was you put like 10p, 5p, whatever it was, and then this clown face would just laugh, and people would pay to do that. And I'm just going, what is wrong with you? You're part of the problem. You're as sick as the fuck who invented this machine.
So I work with someone who also hails from there, and they have also said on. Are you talking about somewhere in Clacton?
Yeah. It was right by the pier.
Yes.
Just at the top of the pier gap. That's where it was. Yeah, absolutely.
She also said it. You put money in, and it's terrifying. And she hates clowns.
Yeah.
They were a really popular thing back then, weren't they? There was the laughing policeman as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
A policeman thing, like a maquette or whatever, and you just put in 10p and he'd laugh.
Generation of people from Clacton just scarred by clowns because of this one.
And don't forget the fella who dressed as a clown and diddled us all as kids. That
didn't help
as well. Yeah, that didn't help.
So, did you have issues with Doink when you were?
Do you know what? I really liked Doink as heel Doink in the wrestling because of that. Because I think naturally they're really evil, they're really scary, and when they actually introduced him as a heel, I was like, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here that I know I'll get panned for, but at the time, I preferred him to The Undertaker because I thought he was a better and more convincing kind of bad guy than The Undertaker was. Like, shit, there's no such thing as The Undertaker. People don't walk around look like that. Bollocks, get off my screen. Whereas Doink is a clown and clowns are evil all the way. And then they turned him face, terrible. Because who could ever cheer for a clown? Because they're evil. They're horrible.
Would you have preferred to have watched Wilder New Day escape Doink than The Undertaker?
Yeah, I would have.
That's the sequel.
Actually, I would watch a sequel with that.
There we go. That's this. That's the ending of the show. Wrapped up in a nice little bow. I'm going to run through the chat just to say hello and goodbye to people who've joined us. Thank you, Mr. Bayron Plays, thank you very much. You put a lovely message
And
in.
a big
Twitter-
thank you
Twitter
as well. He has been dropping comments in quite late for
Yeah.
the show, and we've had him up there. Thank you very much. The support is really appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Stadium Main, for popping in. Sorry you've come in at the end. But again, you can watch it on playback if you so wish. Thanks for
Come
joining
in
us.
to
mate.
find out that Doink's better than the Undertaker. That's the core point of this show.
A quality Stadia streamer he is. I watch his stuff quite a lot. Go check out his YouTube channel. Who else have we got?
I might
here?
have a Stadia update for next episode as well.
Oh, nice. I still haven't got my hands on that free code yet. Google haven't sent out those codes for the free Premier editions yet. So as and when I get it,
you might have convinced me, Stu. I'm almost there. I'm almost over the edge.
it's worth giving it a go.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. I think it's worth having a try.
Kate, thanks for joining us. I think that might be it.
And again, thanks to everyone who saved the bear that was going to be brutally murdered.
Yeah, thanks for your questions. And if you're watching this on catch up, thank you as well. My thanks to Lacey, Seddon, and Jimmy for joining me this week. The audio of this presentation will be available on your podcast feeds this weekend. Just one question: did the audio kick in on the intro when you went live?
Yeah, we had the music this time.
It did.
Yes.
What? How strange. Okay, so
And again,
hopefully when I
I
click
don't know
on the
about
stream-
you, Stu, but I don't get it. Like because I think I'm logged in as you and vice versa. I never get the audio, so I do have to rely on someone to tell me it's actually playing.
I always used to get it, but maybe that's something to do with the fact we're both logged in as me. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be a quirk there. But yeah, until next week. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully you'll get the music when I click this button. Please take care, and goodbye.